Ratis bursts in screaming. He looks absolutely unhinged. He keeps shouting about earning his keep. But for a man, this terrifying, working for a living, looks a bit different. It means sleeping all day, in a plush bed, eating gourmet meals, and sugary desserts, and then spending hours, just grooming himself. Is this a threat, or a vacation? Ratis leans in close. He calls her radiant. In this moment, everything feels like a beautiful fever dream, but this glamour is a brand new mask. For most of her life, things were much darker. Being the eldest daughter wasn't about silk dresses, it was a curse she was born into. She traded the ballroom for blood and fire, swapped the jewelry for heavy, cold steel. The world sees a lady, but the horse knows the weight of a soldier. Master David has returned, and the nightmare is just getting started. A single shout breaks the silence. David collapses from the saddle. The armor is heavy, the blood is real. A voice screams out that he is dead. But then, the world flips upside down. The battlefield vanishes. The blood is gone. Margaret smiles warmly. At the dinner table, she calls him her sweet child. She insists that he eats his vegetables. The brutal night is now a son. Yuri tells her mother to just stop. She says David is busy with love letters. Is this a memory, or is the blood the only thing that was actually real? Yuri won't stop teasing. She's obsessed with David's secret love letter. She wants to know who captured his heart. David hits his limit. He slams the table. With a violent crash, he tells his sister to finally shut up. He calls her a nuisance, a married woman who won't leave his home. The dinner table is a battlefield. Margaret has heard enough. She demands they stop. She wonders why they bicker every single time. But the petty fighting ends in an instant. A maid bursts in, completely out of breath. She starts to say, Master David is back. Then she corrects herself. It's Lady Ratis. She has finally returned, but her condition is far too critical. The room goes cold. Margaret stands up slowly. The dinner is over. The real nightmare has just arrived. 500 years ago, the world was dying. Monsters were everywhere. Prince Dantes stood alone against the darkness. He needed 3 legends to save his empire: the Spear of Light, the Shield of Eternity, and the Sword of Flame. These weren't just weapons, they were the only hope for a broken world. Now, that ancient legacy falls on one man, the descendant of heroes, the pride of the South, the eldest son of the Tilrod family, David Tilrod. But the legendary knight isn't on a battlefield. He's lying still, trapped in a silence that no sword can break. The weight of history is a heavy burden, and David might be running out of time. The world believes the glorious legend, but the truth is much darker. A maid begs for a doctor. She says the young lady is fading fast. Margaret doesn't listen. She answers with a violent slap. She calls it nonsense. If a priest comes, the secret gets out. Ratis is covered in deadly miasma. It was supposed to be David's burden. If anyone finds out, the family is ruined. Margaret orders the maid to hide the evidence. Burn the bloody clothes. Make it all disappear. She turns to the bed. Ratis lies there, barely holding on. Margaret leans in close. She asks her child if she's still conscious. She isn't looking for a sign of life. She's checking to see if the witness can still speak. Ratis was the eldest of the Tilrod family, but being first didn't mean she was wanted. Her parents, Margaret and Jade, were trapped together by a forced marriage. Margaret couldn't even stand to look at him. Is this really my husband? This haggard face? Even this mansion is starting to look shabby. He used to be a knight. Now, he just limps around, a useless man, in a dying house. But every single day, he disappears to the same place. Why would a man like him be at a flower shop? They were a match made in hell. Neither one wanted to be there. Margaret knew about the other woman. Do you love her that much? You should have just married her. David didn't even look back. Just stop it. If it wasn't for this forced marriage, I'd never be here. The feeling is mutual. Maybe they could have found some peace. Maybe they could have been partners. But then came the baby. A daughter? Margaret looked at the child with pure disappointment. Damn it. A daughter? If only the firstborn had been a son. David looked at the baby with a cold smirk. So this is my reward for this hellish marriage? He didn't stay long. The door slammed shut, leaving Margaret alone with her disappointment. The maids couldn't believe it. How can she kick out a nursing baby? She acts like the child doesn't exist. Get rid of her. Get this girl out of my sight right this second. Just like that, the firstborn of the family became an outcast. Poor thing, they haven't even given her a name. The servants were left to raise a child they weren't prepared for. I've never done this. What do I do with a baby? In the blink of an eye, the little girl vanished. The maids scrambled through the gardens. Where did she go? They finally found her, tucked away in the grass. Were you sleeping here, sweetie? She was just lying there, clutching a single flower. No cradle, no nursery, just the dirt. It's too pitiful. She doesn't even have a name. I can't just keep calling her Miss for the rest of her life. A name shouldn't be an afterthought, but for this child, it was a coincidence. She was just mumbling the names of flowers. Gladiolus, Roddy. The maid's face lit up. How about Ratis? It sounds perfect for you. For the first time, the nameless girl had something of her own. She didn't know it came from a servant. She was just happy. But inside the mansion, the mood was different. The guests are complaining. Madam, they keep seeing a child wandering around the grounds. To the world, she wasn't a daughter. She was just an eyesore. Margaret finally gave the order. Bring her here. The little girl was led in, barefoot and messy. She didn't look like a noble's daughter. Margaret stared at her with pure disgust. What is with this kid? How unpleasant. She couldn't even recognize her own flesh and blood. Did I really give birth to her? To Margaret, this wasn't a child. It was a strange animal she had never seen before. The silence was broken by a sharp clatter. The dinner was over before it even began. A mother's voice should be a comfort, but Margaret's voice was a weapon. Are you trying to spill your food again? I can't even stand the sight of you. The little girl ran. She didn't know where, just away from that voice. She huddled in a corner, trying to disappear. The truth was too heavy to carry. Mother hates me. A maid found her, shaking in the shadows. She didn't know what to say. No, she doesn't. The madam doesn't hate you at all. It was a lie, and they both knew it. Sometimes the kindest words do the most damage. The maid held her hands and told her a lie. No parent in the world hates their own blood. She's just angry because you made a mistake. Ratis wanted to believe it. She needed to believe it. I just have to try harder. But that hope turned into a cage. If mother doesn't hate me, then I must be the problem. What did I do wrong this time? Did I spill my food? Did I get my clothes dirty? Was I too loud? Or was I just in the way? She spent her life chasing a love that didn't exist, and blaming herself for never finding it. The quiet afternoon was shattered by a shout. It's a boy. The news spread like wildfire through the estate. The Tilrod family finally has an heir. Ratis stopped playing. She watched the servants run past in a frenzy. A festival was coming. The whole world seemed to celebrate the arrival of the son. She followed the noise back into the mansion. The halls were filled with a new sound. A baby was crying, and just like that, everything had changed. For a split second, the house felt like a home. The father brought flowers, praising Margaret for her strength. She looked down at the baby with a warmth Ratis had never seen before. This child is so cute. Peeking through the door, Ratis felt a spark of hope. Mother and father looked so happy. Maybe the new baby would bring them all together. Maybe now there was enough love to go around. But then, Margaret looked up. The warmth vanished. In an instant, the smile was gone, replaced by a look of pure coldness. It wasn't a look for a daughter. It was a look for an intruder. Ratis didn't wait for a single word. She turned and ran into the shadows of the long hallway. She finally understood. The love was real. It just wasn't meant for her. Another winter, another child. The maid announced the birth of a princess. Margaret wasn't thrilled. At first, she really wanted another son. But then she thought about the future. 2 sons would only fight over the inheritance. A daughter is easier. A daughter is better. When she saw the baby, her mind was made up. The blonde hair, the green eyes. She looks just like me. She's my spitting image. Finally, Margaret had something she could love. Something that looked exactly like her. As the girls grew up, Margaret watched them with a cold, calculating eye. She wasn't thinking about their happiness. She was thinking about the bill. A live-in tutor costs the same, whether they teach 1 child or 2. In this house, even education was just a way to save money. Margaret didn't educate Ratis out of motherly love. It was a business decision. If she learned something, she might be of use someday. But the classroom told a different story. David, the chosen heir, couldn't stand the sight of a book. He bolted out the door, screaming at the top of his lungs. While the golden boy ran, Ratis stayed behind. She was hungry for it. Teacher, how do you do this? She wasn't just learning, she was outshining everyone in the room. The tutor couldn't hide the truth from Margaret. Madam, Miss Ratis is exceptionally smart. She wasn't just useful, she was brilliant. So brilliant, in fact, that the local tutors weren't enough anymore. It was time to aim for the academy in the capital. But in this house, talent is just another thing to be traded. Praise for Ratis was the last thing Margaret wanted to hear. she snapped at the tutor, dismissing the girl's talent as a simple age gap. She's 2 years older. Of course she's doing well. She didn't want a genius. She wanted her son to be the best. But at dinner, the atmosphere shifted. The father looked at David with a rare spark of hope. You're 8 years old now. You should start training to become a great knight. In the monster-infested south, it was the only way to survive with honor. But as he stood up, his leg gave way, a reminder of the glory he could no longer claim. Margaret didn't offer a hand to help. She offered a slap of cold reality. Ha, unbelievable. She slammed her hand against the table, silencing the room. You're just a cripple, yet you dare talk about great knights? In Margaret's world, if you aren't perfect, you don't even have the right to dream. Margaret didn't want a son, she wanted a trophy. She grabbed David's face, planting a seed of shame. You must never end up like your father. In her mind, David wasn't a child, he was a ticket to the top. You'll be a great knight, you'll wear silver armor and ride a white horse. She wasn't dreaming of his success, she was dreaming of her own. Then everyone will look up to me. But grand plans require a student who actually stays put. A new master arrived to turn the dream into a reality. My name is Armano. I'll be teaching you. He was ready to build Margaret's perfect knight. But there was one small problem. The field was empty. The wind was blowing, and the golden boy was already gone. Where did he go? Margaret's future hero had just pulled his first disappearing act. You can buy the best teacher, but you can't buy motivation. David didn't see a battlefield. He saw a nap spot. Hey, that's not the training area. Armano watched his star pupil flop onto the grass, like a fish out of water. I don't know any techniques that involve lying down. Margaret wanted a hero. Instead, she got a boy who treats a sword like a piece of firewood. Armano tried to fix his grip, but the boy was a wall. Do you even have any intention of learning? David didn't even blink. He just stood there, holding the weapon, like a complete amateur. Idiot. Moron. The insults flew, but they didn't land. David didn't care about honor. He didn't care about silver armor. Armano reached his limit. He looked at the boy and saw a lost cause. Where do I even start? The tutor was hired to build a legend, but right now, he'd settle for a student who knows which end of the sword to hold. A sharp sound cut through the air, breaking Armano's frustration. He turned his head, drawn to a rhythm he didn't expect to hear. In the distance, under the shade of the trees, someone was actually working. It wasn't David, it was a girl. She didn't have a real sword. She didn't have a fancy tutor, but she had something David was missing: focus. Every swing was precise, every movement had purpose. She moved with a grace that only comes from endless practice. Armano stood still, completely captivated by the sight. Who is that child? He was hired to find a hero. He just didn't expect to find one hiding in the garden. He said, "I'm good." Alexis can't believe it. A simple compliment just changed everything. But Armano sees more than just talent. He sees a shadow from a forgotten age. Dante's Arpend, the first emperor's knight, the legendary sword of flames. Alexis Tilrod, that's the name history tried to bury. After 500 years, the fire is back, and it's burning right in front of him. This child is a genius. Armano can see it now. The power she's hiding is absolutely terrifying. But that same evening, the reality of this house hits him hard. Don't ever praise her. A maid warns him to keep his mouth shut. One nice word to Alexis could get him fired. The way they treat her is worse than he thought. She's a legend in chains. He thanks her for the tip, but in his mind, the choice is already made. Is getting kicked out really worse than letting this talent rot? He's about to find out. The enemy is in front. Everything you love is right behind you. Armano is teaching her more than just combat. At the center of it all is your sword. It's the only thing standing between peace and total destruction. Alexis takes a step. She isn't just practicing in a garden anymore. She's learning how to protect her world. With this one blade, she'll hold the line. The look in her eyes says she's ready to carry that weight. Don't ever forget this. Armano's voice cuts through the heat of the training. He's giving her a rule most knights never hear. Before you save the world or protect your family, there is one person who comes first. It's you, Ratis. You have to protect yourself. The words stop her cold. Alexis is used to being the shield for everyone else. Protecting herself? That's a concept she doesn't understand. How is she supposed to even do that? And why is Armano only saying this to her? He doesn't tell David to put himself first. There's a reason. She's being singled out, and it's starting to make her very nervous. For the first time, Alexis isn't alone. The training is brutal, but the smile on her face is finally real. She and Armano have found a rhythm. It's not just about swinging a sword anymore. It's about mutual respect. They're exhausted, covered in sweat, and perfectly at peace. In this garden, she's finally just a girl, learning to be great. But they aren't alone. From the shade of a tree, David is taking it all in. Watching her struggle is his favorite show, and he isn't planning on missing a single second. The Imperial Academy. It's the elite forge, where knights are made. Yuri has decided it's time for David to take his place there. She looks to Armano, hoping for his blessing. Is 10 years old the right age to start? Or is she pushing her son too hard? The time has come. Armano knows the truth about that place. It isn't just a school, it's a battlefield. It will be difficult. His warning is simple, but it carries weight. The academy doesn't care about your noble blood. Yuri starts to hesitate. Maybe next year is better? But the wheels are turning. David's childhood is over, whether he's ready or not. Armano bows his head. He's about to kill a mother's dream. It doesn't matter how long they wait. David has no talent for the sword. The room goes silent. The boy she pinned all her hopes on is a failure. But Armano isn't finished. There is a genius living in this house. Someone who reminds him of the greatest legends. It's not David, who belongs at the academy. It's Ratis. The truth hits Yuri like a physical blow. Her golden boy is nothing, while the girl she hates is everything. Ratis. She screams the name with pure venom. The secret is out, and now Alexis is in the line of fire. Yuri snaps. The truth was too much, so she chooses violence. A brutal strike lands right on Alexis. In Yuri's mind, this isn't about talent. It's a conspiracy. She calls Alexis a fox, a manipulator who seduced their teacher for favor. She screams that Alexis has ruined everything. The family's future and David's life are all gone. Armano tries to step in. He begs her to stop, but Yuri is far beyond listening. She turns her rage on the teacher next. A second strike. She doesn't care about his expertise anymore. To her, he's just trash, who betrayed her son. You're fired. The words are final. She's burning every bridge to protect her pride. The only teacher who saw Alexis's worth is gone in an instant. Armano is gone. The gates close on the only person who saw her potential. Inside the mansion, the air is heavy with a mother's grief. Yuri is broken. She wails on the floor, mourning the years she thinks were wasted. In her mind, it wasn't David's fault. If only the teacher had done his job. If only he'd been better, David would be a hero at the Imperial Academy. She's drowning in denial. But then, the crying stops. The room goes cold. Yuri looks up, and her eyes lock onto Alexis. The target has shifted. If David can't do it, then someone else will. She points a finger with a terrifying demand. You do it. Alexis is no longer just the unwanted girl. She's become the tool for Yuri's last desperate gamble. Alexis can't believe what she's hearing. The demand is insane. Since she ruined David's future, she has to fix it. Yuri wants her to take the exam in David's place. A total lie. A dangerous gamble. The logic is cold. They're the same height. They look enough alike. Under a suit of armor, no one will notice the difference. Yuri moves across the room with purpose. She opens a drawer and pulls out a pair of scissors. The metal hits the table with a thud. There's only one thing left to change. The hair. She's not just stealing David's exam. She's cutting away who Alexis is, and she wants it done right now. Yuri changes her tone. The screaming stops, and the manipulation begins. She calls Alexis the eldest daughter of the Tilrod family. It's a heavy title. She says this sacrifice is for her brother and for the family. It's what a daughter is supposed to do. Alexis is stunned. In all these years, this is the first time her mother has ever called her a daughter. The slap still stings, but the words hit even harder. She starts to believe the lie she's been told her whole life. Maybe parents can't truly hate their children. Maybe this is just her mother's way of showing she cares. Yuri holds the scissors, waiting for an answer. She just needs Alexis to try a little harder, to be the tool she was meant to be. Alexis gives in. She finally feels like she belongs. All she has to do is make sure David passes the exam. She's ready to disappear, just to keep this feeling alive. The long red hair falls to the floor. The transformation is finally complete. Alexis is gone. Only the eldest daughter of Tilrod remains. She steps outside, dressed in a uniform that isn't hers. She looks like David. She moves like David. The carriage is waiting to take her to the exam. Yuri watches from the top of the stairs. She doesn't offer a hug or a warm goodbye. She just says two simple words. Good job. That's all it takes. Alexis stands there with a faint smile, feeling a warmth she's never known. It's the first time in her entire life her mother has ever praised her. She'll do anything to hear it again. As she leaves, she thinks of Armano. His secret lessons were meant for her, but now, they're the only thing keeping this lie alive. Alexis sits alone, writing a letter she knows she shouldn't be sending. She's haunted by guilt. Armano lost his job because of her, and she can't just let it go. She hopes he finds a better life away from this family, but her moment of peace is short. Yuri enters the room, holding a sealed envelope. The teacher actually sent a reply. Alexis didn't expect him to write back, especially not to this house. As Yuri approaches, the air gets heavy. Alexis braces herself. She waits for the familiar sting of a hand across her face. She stays still, expecting the worst, but the blow never comes. It's a strange kind of torture. Being spared the pain is almost more terrifying than receiving it. She's safe for now, but in this house, safety never lasts. The letter never had a chance. Yuri doesn't want Alexis looking back. She holds the paper over the flame and watches it begin to curl. This was the only connection she had to the person she used to be, the only proof that someone out there actually cared. Alexis stands there, unable to move. She has to watch every word burn. Every bit of kindness from her teacher is turning into blackened ash. Yuri is making one thing clear: there is no room for Alexis anymore. There is only the mission. There is only David. The fire dies out, leaving nothing behind. The bridge to her past is officially gone. She's trapped in a lie, with no one left to call her name. The exam is coming, and now she has nothing left to lose. To become a knight, he has no choice, but David is losing it. Nothing about this is fine. He has to enter the forest of monsters. The demonic energy there is a literal curse. 1 month of hunting takes half a year to recover from. The only other way is paying a priest for a holy blessing, but they don't have that kind of money. Yuri mentions the prophet from the mana stones. It doesn't matter. David refuses to go. Yuri tells him to calm down. She has a new idea, and it sounds dangerous. Alexis is carving a sword. It's only wood, but it's all she has. The backyard is the only place she feels truly safe. She doesn't need a master to keep her edge, but her peace is about to end. Margaret appears like a shadow. She has a plan for Alexis's future. The Lord of Winds is looking for a wife. He doesn't want love, he just wants a son, and he's offering land in exchange for a bride. He's 70 years old, but to Margaret, that doesn't matter. She calls it a reward. Alexis can't even find words. Her grip on the wood is the only thing keeping her steady. Margaret only has one question: does she not like the generous offer? Margaret has a new deal. If Alexis hates the marriage, she can take another path. She can go to the forest. She can hunt the monsters in David's place. If she survives the hunt, she can keep her home. It's a choice between a forced marriage or death. Alexis doesn't hesitate. The training begins instantly. The instructors are heartless. They scream for her to stand straight, to get a grip. In this place, one mistake is the end, and the real fight hasn't even started yet. Robert screams for focus. Never lower your guard. Aim for the weak points. This is the captain, the man responsible for her survival. He's the one who forged her skills. He's actually impressed. He tells David his skills are incredible. He has no idea who is under the helmet. Robert promises him a spot as a knight. Alexis keeps it simple. She just says yes. The disguise is working, and for Yuri, this is perfect news. The trap is set. Yuri is celebrating. Her son is finally becoming a knight, but this victory belongs to someone else. The campaigns never stop. Alexis is trapped in a cycle of war. Every battle she wins is just more money. She pays for David's debts. She covers her father's failed business deals. She buys the jewelry for her mother. She even pays for Yuri's wedding dowry. The gold flows out as fast as it comes. There is no escape, but her talent is impossible to hide. In recognition of her skill, she is promoted. She is now the vice captain of the Imperial Force. The disguise is deeper, and the burden just got even heavier. Robert is counting on her. The crowd is cheering. They call her a legend. They see the red hair. They see the extraordinary skill. They compare the vice captain to the legendary flame sword. But behind the glory, she was falling apart. Demonic energy was rotting her body away. She never received treatment, not even once. She fought until the end, until the moment of death. She died in the dark, alone and in pain. But then her eyes open. The light is different. She's alive. The demonic energy is gone. Her body feels light. Her skin is flawless. Even the sword calluses have completely disappeared. No priest could ever perform a miracle like this. She didn't just survive. She's been reset. The nightmare is over. and a new life has just begun. She jumps out of bed. The floor feels solid. This isn't a spirit world. She grabs a mirror to see the impossible. This face, this short hair, it's her, but it's her from 10 years ago. She looks around. The slanted ceiling, the small bed, this is the attic. From her childhood. Is this a dream, or a final vision? Before the end, she walks to the window to see the truth. The courtyard is buzzing. Servants are moving fast. They're carrying fresh flowers and trays of food. They're preparing for a festival. The realization hits her. She knows this date. She knows exactly what today is. Yuri is on edge. She demands absolute perfection. Today is the day. The Imperial Academy officer is arriving soon. There is no room for a single flaw. The servants are scrambling. The house is a whirlwind of flowers and food. Everything must look expensive. Young David is amazed. The cake is massive, but he doesn't realize the pressure he's under. To Yuri, he is the family's golden ticket. She pulls him close with a bright smile. The performance has begun. The stage is set, but in this house, perfection is a trap. Yuri is looking for her golden boy. She's picturing him deep in his books, a perfect scholar for the academy officer. But the reality is a total disaster. He isn't studying, he's taking a nap because he's bored. Yuri is losing her carefully crafted patience. On a day like this, he's sleeping? She sends her daughter to wake him up. He has to be ready for the stage. But then a question stops her cold. Where is Ratis? Shouldn't the whole family be here together? Yuri doesn't even look back. To her, Ratis doesn't even matter. She's just a nuisance. Who would ruin this perfect occasion? In this house, some people don't exist. The daughter keeps asking. Even the gardener is dressed in his best. Isn't Ratis family too? But her voice is lost in the noise. The big moment is here. Officer Klein has arrived. He's from the academy. The fake smiles are out. The handshakes are firm. The performance is peaking. He's here to deliver the admission certificate. He tells Yuri she must be so proud. She plays the part of the gracious mother. But then comes the one question she dreads. Where is young David? The officer is waiting to meet the genius. Yuri stalls for time. She promises he will be here any second. But someone else is already at the door. The heavy sound of metal hits the floor. These aren't the steps of a young boy. A soldier has arrived, and the perfect party is about to break. There he is. Yuri is absolutely thrilled. She thinks her son is making a grand entrance. Even Officer Klein is completely taken in. He sees the armor. He sees the power. He calls this person a once-in-a-generation talent, a true successor to the legendary flame sword. But the parents are about to be humiliated. The figure doesn't speak. They just reach for the hilt of their blade. Yuri starts to panic. She thinks it's a prank. She tells David to stop playing around. But then the steel slides out of the sheath. The air turns hot. It isn't David. The eyes behind the mask are cold and sharp. Red hair spills out from the metal gaps. With one clean strike, the massive cake is gone. The perfect party is sliced in half. The real flame sword has finally come home, and she isn't here to celebrate. The room goes silent. The celebration is over. The parents are frozen in their own lies. They were waiting for a polite young boy. Instead, they got a storm in steel. Alexis doesn't move. She just stands there, gripping the blade. That changed everything. The flame sword isn't a legend anymore. It's standing right in their living room. The exam is coming, and now she has nothing left to lose. The piece is over. Everything beautiful shatters in a second. Ratis isn't holding back. He brings the blade down with everything he has. Yuri can't even move. The strike lands right in front of everyone. Someone screams for her, but is it already too late? The blade didn't hit Yuri. It hit something else, something much more important. Margaret screams at David. She wants to know what he's thinking. How could he let this happen? Elaine rushes to help, but the damage is done. The room is in chaos. Ratis stands his ground. He looks down at the shredded white scraps. It wasn't just paper. It was the admission certificate. And now, it's completely destroyed. Klein hands it over. His voice is shaking. He knows what happens next. Ratis takes the paper. He doesn't say a word. He just looks at the name. It says David. With one clean motion, he slices right through it. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Yuri screams his name. She can't believe what she's seeing. First her certificate. Now David's. In just a few seconds, everything they worked for is gone. The scraps of paper fall, but the voice coming from the armor isn't who they expected. He says he isn't David. He isn't David Tilrod at all. The helmet comes off. Long red hair spills out. It's a woman, and her name is Ratis. Klein can't believe his eyes. He demands to know why she's wearing the young master's armor. Ratis just smiles. She remembers Klein perfectly. She reminds him of the time he helped her find the training grounds. It wasn't David under that armor back then. It was her. It's been her the whole time. The truth hits like a physical blow. Everyone is frozen, but the chaos isn't over. A new voice cuts through. The admissions officer is here, and he wants answers. Ratis walks in, like she owns the place. She spreads her arms wide, and makes a grand announcement. She calls herself the pride of the family, the one and only, David Tilrod. It's a total mockery. The real David is losing his mind. He demands to know why she's in his armor. He thinks this is just some childish tantrum, but Yuri can't take it. The shock is too much. She's literally turning white. Elaine tries to catch her. As she hits the floor, the madam has completely lost consciousness. The Tilrod family is falling apart. In front of everyone, the helmet hits the floor. The chaos is over, and Ratis is laughing. She drops onto the bed, still wearing the heavy armor. It was easy, pathetically easy, to tear it all down. The sunlight feels different now. Everything is so vivid, so satisfying. Maybe this is just a dream, a final flash of light, before the end. She should have done this a long time ago. She should have rebelled from the very start. Now there's only one thing left. She has to wake up from this sweet dream. But honestly, she could die right here. No more hiding, no more lies. She has absolutely zero regrets. The door slams open. The peace is gone. Margaret is screaming. She thinks Ratis has finally lost her mind. To pull a stunt like this, you have to be insane. Margaret doesn't stop at words. She lashes out. A brutal strike, right across the face. How could she do this? How could she sabotage her own brother's future? Margaret grabs her hair and yanks her head back. The family is ruined, branded as frauds, and it's all her fault. Ratis is thrown like a piece of trash. Margaret wants her dead. She calls her worthless. The pain is sharp. It's heavy. It's way too visceral to be a dream. This isn't a hallucination. This is real. And Margaret isn't finished. She reaches down, like a shadow, blocking out the light. The nightmare is only just beginning. Out of all the abuse, this is the deepest cut. The agony is shredding everything she has left. But through the cracks, a cold light seeps in. A single thought finally becomes clear. Margaret reaches out to strike again, but this time, Ratis catches her wrist. Margaret is stunned. She demands to be released. She mocks the certificate. She thinks Ratis is just being arrogant. Ratis doesn't flinch. She agrees. The certificate is pathetic. The training was grueling. The missions were bloody. She broke her back, doing every single thing Margaret ever demanded. She choked down. Years of misery. Years of humiliation. Margaret tries to back away. She tells her to get her hands off, but Ratis holds on. She only endured it for one reason, because Margaret was supposed to be her mother. She swallowed the bitterness until there was nothing left to swallow. Ratis lets go. Margaret collapses onto the floor. She can't believe it. A filthy thing like Ratis actually dared to touch her. But Ratis is standing tall. The silence is over. She is done holding back. Margaret loses it. She screams for blood. She wants Ratis dead. But the servants have to drag her away. She's hysterical, broken. Ratis watches them go. She lets out a scream that's been building for a lifetime. She prays this is real. She prays this isn't just a sweet dream before she dies. And the universe answers, but not in the way she ever expected. 3 days have passed. 3 whole days since she woke up inside this dream. She's still here. The nightmare is over. But the real story is just getting started. A maid stands over her, spitting insults. She calls Ratis a beggar with disgraceful manners. But Ratis isn't listening to the insults. She's looking at a ghost. This is Elaine, the woman who was brutally murdered to hide the family's secrets. She was supposed to die to cover up the fact that Ratis spent years masquerading as David. But here she is, alive, breathing, and still mocking her. Elaine thinks Ratis has it easy. She thinks Ratis is just a burden, making Margaret sick. That's when it hits her. This isn't a dream. At the very moment she was about to die, she was pulled back. She's back in the past. Ratis looks Elaine straight in the eye. Maybe she's been a bit too docile up until now. The maid is confused, but Ratis knows this is her second chance, and she isn't going to waste it. Ratis doesn't say another word. She just tilts the bowl. The soup pours right over Elaine's head. The maid freezes. She can't process what just happened. She screams at Ratis, asking if she's lost her mind. But Ratis just smiles. It's the most peaceful she's looked in years. The bowl is empty, and so is her patience. She's done being the family punching bag. From this moment on, the rules have changed, and Elaine is just the first to find out. The soup hits the floor, and the room goes silent. My mother is bedridden, all because of me, and my father is busy fixing the mess I made. Alexis keeps moving closer, while Elaine is stuck, pinned against the floor. If something happened to you, right here and now. Alexis leans in, with a look that says, she's already won. I guess no one could help you, right? Elaine is completely alone, and there's nowhere left for her to run. Everything changed when I took David's place. I went into the hunts, and came back with power. For the first time, I could actually demand whatever I wanted. I didn't ask for gold, or a higher title. I wanted the person who made my life hell to finally pay the price. Elaine thought she was safe under my family's roof, but my very first order was to have her fired. She's gone now, kicked out into the wild, with nothing but her bags, and this is only the beginning of my list. Knowing the family secret was a death sentence. That was the end. For someone like Elaine, she used to be just a quiet child. You could shut her up with a bit of food. She never had the guts to say a word. Alexis looks at the mess and isn't impressed. Get this garbage out of my sight. And for starters, bring me some real food. The dynamic has shifted, and Elaine is learning exactly who is boss. Finally, some actual food. This is what a human is supposed to eat. Elaine is still hovering, like she's waiting for something to happen, but Alexis is done with the audience. What are you doing? You can leave now. Elaine doesn't argue, she just gets out as fast as she can. The door clicks shut, and the room is still. Alexis is finally alone, with a warm meal. The heat from the soup, the texture of the bread. It's not a dream, it's all real. She's finally back, in a world she can actually touch. I was 26, when the poison finally took me. Demonic energy rotted me from inside, but somehow, I'm back. I'm 16 again, staring at my reflection in a bowl of soup. Why did this happen? Is this supposed to be some grand chance for me to get revenge? Margaret and Yuri are still right there, waiting to strike, but I don't even want that. The bullying was bad, but that's not what made me miserable. There's something deeper eating at my soul, and revenge won't be enough to fix it. I survived the mud and the monster hunts. I watched my body rot from the inside, and through all that, I told myself that I was fine. Physical pain is easy, you can grit your teeth and just get through it. But then I saw them, Margaret, Yuri, and David. They looked so perfect, a real family, smiling in the light. That's when I realized the truth about my pain. It wasn't the demonic energy tearing me apart, it was the fact that in their world, I never even existed. I was right there, reaching for the light, but the fire between us was already too hot. I really thought I could handle being alone, but I was wrong. I used to think, if I just worked harder, if I was perfect, until the very end, maybe they would actually love me, just a little bit. That's all I wanted. But I'm done struggling for scraps. I'm done begging for a place at their table. To my parents and my siblings, I am absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter how much I try, the result is always going to be the exact same. I'm just a ghost in this house. So I'm making a new plan. I have to get out of here. If they won't give me a life, I'll go find one for myself. I need to leave, but how? And where would I go? My entire world is this tiny fief, and a forest, crawling with monsters. Maybe the forest is my best bet. It's dangerous, but I'd have more peace there than in this house. It's the only place where I can actually be free. I remember seeing some settlers living on the outskirts. The monsters are scarce in that area. They seem to be getting by with farming. If I go there and prove my skills, they might take me in. I just need to wait. What is that? Wait a second. I just remembered something huge. A few years from right now, a random settler is going to strike it rich. A massive pest outbreak will wipe out every cherry orchard in the region, except for one, because that farm is so isolated, it stays safe. Back then, cherries were basically worth their weight in actual gold. If I invest in that farm now, I'll be set for the rest of my life. This is it. This is my golden ticket out. There's just one tiny problem. I have absolutely zero money. I'm 16 years old, and my pockets are completely empty. I can't even buy a basket of cherries, let alone a farm. Why is this happening to me? I'm living life for the second time, and I'm still just as stuck. The screaming is absolutely relentless. Mom, you promised. You said I'd get a new dress. Yuri is on the floor, throwing a total fit. She thinks a dress is our biggest problem. You told me I'd look beautiful, that I'd catch the prince's eye. Margaret is at her absolute limit. Her head is spinning, from the noise, and the debt. Yuri has no idea how much it cost to cover up the mess Ratis made. We spent a fortune in bribes just to call it a play. We told everyone she was just acting out of jealousy. But that admissions officer had to be difficult. He wouldn't just take the money. A re-examination? What a joke. We threw everything we had at this. Every bribe, every favor. And for what? The admission was still cancelled. All that money is just gone. David should have been at the academy by now, if it weren't for that girl Ratis, that wretched girl. Margaret is seething. Her anger is spilling out loud. Mom, are you talking about me? Yuri looks like she's about to completely break down. She thinks all that venom is aimed at her. Oh, Yuri, no, 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 I wasn't talking to you at all. Margaret panics. She can't handle seeing her golden child this upset. Alright, fine, Mom will buy you the dress. Which one do you want? The tears vanish in an instant. This one. Yuri points directly at the most extravagant gown in the book. I see. My goodness, you certainly have expensive taste. Now, stop crying, everything will be fine. Margaret plays the part of the comforting mother, but as she looks up, the mask starts to slip. She's not thinking about the dress anymore. She's thinking about the price she paid. That's right. A dark realization washes over her. The money is gone. Her reputation is ruined. She wears a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I can't just let this go. Not after being humiliated like this. The kindness is gone. Now, she only wants to make someone pay. She finally knows what peace feels like. No more constant aching. No more heavy limbs. Being pain-free is actually a shock. In her past life, her body was ruined. Monster energy was basically poison. It rotted her from the inside out. Rest could have saved her back then. A temple ritual might have fixed it. But things were never that simple. She was never given that choice. Her family didn't care that she was dying. They only saw a tool. David needed his streak. Yuri needed a dowry. As the eldest daughter, she had to endure. They told her to just keep going. Even as she fell apart, her vision started failing. Every joint felt broken. Her skin began rotting right off her bones. The smell was unmistakable. She was coughing blood while they made demands. It was clear now. Staying meant certain death. She needed a way to actually survive. And it wasn't here. She found the secret. The poison inside her is now her strength. She learned to turn demonic energy into mana. In her past life, she was 24 before she figured this out. By then, it was already too late. It only bought her a little more time. But now, she has a massive head start. Wielding mana is rare. It was the only bit of luck she had. And this time, she won't waste it. Her second stroke of luck was meeting him. Armano taught her that true swordsmanship is about protection. He warned her never to let power boil over like waves. Rage is useless. If you lose control, you must always save enough strength to guard what matters. Keep your focus on what's behind you. He looked at her with total confidence. Do you understand? The lesson was clear, but could she do it? Ratis didn't just listen. She put it into practice. She parried his strike with perfect timing. Yes, Master Armano. The essence is protection. She repeated the words like a sacred vow. She wasn't just swinging, she was guarding her life. Armano was stunned. He told her she was doing great, better than anyone he had ever taught. He stood before her in the bright sun. I'm truly proud of you. For the first time, someone actually saw her. She wasn't a tool, she was a warrior, and she was finally ready to fight back. If I had good parents, would it feel like this? Alexis stood alone on the quiet balcony. The warmth was new. She needed to keep this connection alive. I should find a way to send him letters, secretly, and soon. A sudden click broke the silence. She turned around. As the door opened, someone was there. It was Elaine. The maid was shaking while holding the tray. Miss, I brought your meal. Alexis kept it simple. Oh, thanks. But the maid looked like she'd seen a ghost. Why was she so terrified? Did I scare her a bit too much? The food is actually good this time. The treatment has changed. Well, it works for me. Alexis dismissed the maid. You can go now. But Elaine hesitated. She had more news. Madam will call for you. She even saw a gift, a box prepared just for Alexis. The maid was hopeful. I think she might plan to forgive you. Alexis stopped cold. The word felt wrong. Forgive me? She looked away in total disbelief. Why would she do that now? Something is definitely up. One wrong word meant a week locked in the dark. That was her childhood. No gifts, no birthdays, just a heavy door. And total silence. Her mother never gave anything for free. So why start now? Alexis looked down. Could it be? Did her desperate cries finally reach her? She wanted to believe. She wanted to think things were changing, but the truth was much crueler. Margaret was laughing. I'm far too generous. The gift wasn't love, it was a dress, and David was forced to wear it. The humiliation had only just begun. The insult started before she even left the room. Margaret's voice dripped with venom. Buying a dress for a daughter who ruins our name. Alexis stood still. The realization hit hard. I'm an idiot for believing her. The gift was a calculated insult, a cheap piece from a bargain catalog. Yuri didn't stop. Don't stand near me. At the banquet, that dress was 90% off. She kept shouting at the girl. She called Ratis. Are you listening? Alexis finally spoke. It's sister. The room went quiet. Address me properly, as your sister. The mockery stopped. They weren't ready for her to fight back. Sister, my foot. Margaret snapped her fan. The room felt heavy. You have to act like a sister first. Alexis didn't flinch. She just looked up with a cold smile. In that case, she said quietly, I suppose I can call you Margaret. The name hung in the air. A total declaration of war. You need to act like a mother, to be treated as one. Margaret nearly choked. After all the years I fed you, how dare you? She screamed at the ungrateful wretch. She lunged forward in a blind rage, but Yuri jumped in. Mom, stop. You'll throw out. You're back again. The high and mighty, noble mother was falling apart, and Alexis was just getting started. Ugh, honestly. Yuri's voice cut through the room. We never have peace because of someone. Alexis stood there with her back turned. She had heard this her entire life. It was always her fault. The fighting between Margaret and Jade? Her fault. David's drinking and his total incompetence? Her fault too. Even Yuri's own immature behavior was somehow blamed on Alexis. She was the family's permanent shadow. The one person everyone could point a finger at to feel better. But the shadow was finally moving. She wasn't going to carry their sins anymore. I really used to believe it was all my doing. Alexis stepped out of the carriage. The guilt was finally starting to fade, but the reality of being a lady hit her hard. This dress is heavier than armor. She struggled to even move. Are they all like this? She wouldn't know. She had never worn one before. Her family walked ahead without her. Then she saw it, the massive mansion towering over her. I've never seen anything this big. The scale of it was overwhelming. While David used her reputation to climb the social ladder, she was always left behind, stuck at home, in the dark. But tonight, she was finally stepping into the light. She was done sitting around. She wasn't waiting for a cruel fate to find her. She was going to find it first. I can't let that happen again. Alexis stood tall. The days of being a victim were over. I won't let it happen anymore. Tonight was the night. At the Russell estate, the third prince was celebrating his birthday banquet. A room full of power and secrets. Margaret only brought me here to humiliate me. She wanted Alexis to look ridiculous in this heavy dress, but she was wrong. Hurry up, Margaret snapped. We won't get inside until tomorrow morning. She didn't realize she was walking into a trap. I will seize a new opportunity here. Alexis watched the doors open wide. The attendant's voice boomed through the hall. Madame Margaret Tilrod and her daughters. The eyes of the Empire were on them. Alexis didn't care about the stairs. The Imperial Subjugation Force, the shield of the Empire. In my past life, I gave them everything. I fought under David's name, but the Empire never really supported us. The North feels safe, so they send nothing. Only the Southern nobles actually fund their armies. That brings me here. The prestigious Russell household. This is my only shot. I need to take their entrance exam. Hunting monsters is all I know. It is the only way for me to survive. Oh my, Viscountess Anton, it has been a while. Anton greets Madame Tilrod with a bright smile. She notices the two daughters standing right there. The social games have officially begun, but will they let a girl like me fight? The whispers start the moment I arrive. Is that the child? Look at her dress. Margaret knows exactly what she is doing. She thinks this dress is a punishment, a way to humiliate me in front of everyone. She wants to remind me of my place, to make me feel small. Under all these stares, I take a breath. It doesn't matter. I won't see these people after today anyway. Let them stare. Let them whisper. I have a mission, and I won't let a pink dress stop me. But the real test is just beginning. The rumors are spreading. They call me impudent. They say I was jealous of my own brother. Margaret is playing them like a professional. She tells everyone how sweet David is, how he sacrificed his future just to protect my honor. What a reliable son. What a tragic story. The noble women are horrified. They think I am a monster of envy. Margaret hides her face behind a lace fan. She wants me gone before I influence the others. She pretends to listen to their cruel advice. But I am not listening to them. I see the silver armor, the crest of the knights, the Russell Order, the only family that supports the subjugation force. If I can just join their ranks, I can finally leave this nest of vipers. But a hand reaches out. The game isn't over. Someone is stopping me. Margaret stops me with a sharp shout. She accuses me of flirting with knights. She says I look like a commoner. She didn't come alone. She brought a solution for my useless life. A man to marry. The only way you can help us is by marrying well. That is her plan. Meet Hover, a successful merchant with a hidden fortune. Margaret claims he is way out of my league. He greets me with a greasy smile. He thinks I am just a naive girl, but I know him. I know exactly who he is. Hover, the notorious swindler. He smuggled mana stones from my own family. He stole our wealth for a tiny fraction of its true worth. He preyed on us because we were desperate. And now Margaret is handing me straight to a criminal. She has no idea that I remember every single face from my past life. The trap is set, but she doesn't know who is the hunter. Hover tries to play the helpful gentleman. He thinks I am lost and vulnerable. Let me guide you, he says with a smile. I don't need him. I prefer being alone. I walk away without a second thought. But he won't stop. He goes for the throat. He starts mocking my pink dress. He says it is an outdated design. He saw it on sale for 90% off. He laughs at my family's misfortune. Aren't you embarrassed to wear this here? He wants me to feel ashamed. He wants me to feel small. I turn around. I am only 16. I wear what I am given. You know the price of my dress, but you don't know how to be considerate. A grown man bullying a young girl. Who is the one who should be embarrassed? He didn't expect a child to bite back. The swindler is finally speechless. I give him the perfect exit. You must be embarrassed to be seen with me. I excuse myself and walk away. He is stunned. He starts shouting my name, Ratis. Wait, he is actually chasing after me. He hasn't done anything wrong yet, not in this life, but I know what he becomes. I won't get involved. Why does he keep following me? He is begging for a second chance. I misspoke. Please let's talk. I don't want to. I just want to stop talking. I need to get away. Then I see a shadow outside, a lone figure in the garden, the silver armor, the heavy cloak. I know that silhouette anywhere. The captain. He is right there. This is the only chance I have. The real game starts now. It can't be. There is no way. The captain is here. I lift my dress and start running. I have to know if it was him. I reach the archway and look around. The garden is quiet. The shadow is gone. I stop to breathe. The night air is cold and empty. I guess I was just seeing things. My mind is playing tricks on me. There is no way Robert would be here. Not at a party like this one. I am all alone in the dark. Maybe my only chance just vanished. I should head back. I have a goal to accomplish today. I don't know when I will get another chance like this. But the universe has other plans. My foot slips. The world tilts. I hit the ground before I can react. I can't believe this. I was the vice captain of the subjugation force, a legendary warrior, and I just tripped in a garden, all because of these cheap high heels. My ankle is throbbing. My pride is completely shattered. I am stuck here on the floor. Then a shadow falls over me. A white-gloved hand reaches out. Are you all right? A voice asks from the darkness. I look up and see him standing right in front of me. I look up. The silver hair, the piercing red eyes. It really is him, the man I was just chasing through the dark garden, the captain of the knights. Robert. He stands over me like a vision. He offers his hand in a white glove. My lady. His voice is calm. He is waiting for me to take it. I wanted to find him. I needed to talk, but not like this. I am sitting in the dirt at his feet. The most powerful man in the empire just caught me falling. Everything I planned is about to change. What do I say now? A sudden voice breaks my train of thought. This stranger is asking if I'm alright. He calls out to me, but I'm completely stuck. Wow, how can a person actually look like this? Everything I planned just went out the window. Who is this guy, and why is he approaching me now? He's still standing there, waiting for an answer. I have to act normal. I insist I'm fine, and try to get up. But then it happens. A loud snap from under my foot. Right, my heel just broke. I'm losing my balance. There's no stopping it. I'm falling again, right in front of him. This couldn't get any more embarrassing. I'm braced for impact, but it never comes. He catches me right before I fall. He asks again if I'm alright. I can barely manage to thank him. I'm a total mess. Then he looks down. My broken heel is just lying there. It's so obvious now. He tells me today seems difficult for someone like me. He has no idea. This is just the beginning. He doesn't just walk away. He tells me to find courage. Even a day like this has something to offer. Then he reaches out. He hands me his own handkerchief. He wants me to use it for my wound. I try to refuse. This fabric looks way too expensive to get blood on. I'm not fine at all. I'm so embarrassed. I have to hide my face, but he just smiles at me. Who is this man, and why is he doing this? He won't take no for an answer. He places the cloth directly in my hand. He tells me it's quite alright. If it weighs on my mind, I can just return it later. He just gave me a reason to see him again. Before I can even respond, he excuses himself. I watch him walk away into the shadows. But he isn't the only one in this garden. Ratis is there. He's been watching the whole time, and he looks absolutely furious. Ratis doesn't stay in the shadows. He steps back into the light. The crowd has been looking for the guest of honor. It turns out Ratis is actually the third prince. He plays the perfect royal part. He tells them he just needed some fresh air. He smiles and accepts their wishes. It's his birthday, after all. But the act doesn't last long. He catches up to Klein alone. He doesn't waste any time. He asks if women like Alexis are actually his preference. He isn't just making conversation. This is a direct challenge, and things are about to get very ugly. Klein doesn't take the bait. He acts like he has no idea what Ratis means. He doesn't stay to argue. He just turns and walks away. He even offers a polite wish for the birthday. But Ratis isn't bothered by the cold shoulder. He watches Klein leave the room with a look that says everything. He starts laughing. It isn't a happy sound. It's the laugh of someone who already won. He's found a new game to play. And back at the ballroom entrance, Alexis has no idea what she just walked into. I couldn't bring myself to actually use it. It felt like a waste to ruin something this beautiful. I look at the initials on the corner. I wonder who he really is. He felt like an angel sent to help. I keep thinking about what he told me, that if I can just find the courage, I might actually gain something today. I hold the cloth close to my heart. I'm trying to believe him, but then I see someone in the crowd. Everything stops. That man, I know him, but what is he doing here? Alexis doesn't hesitate. She runs straight toward Lord Felice Rothschild. He's completely caught off guard. He's certain they have never met before. She introduces herself as Ratis Tilrod. She's using a fake name to hide her identity. She starts with flattery. She calls him a shield, protecting the empire from the monsters. He plays it humble. He says they just do their duty. But Alexis isn't here for small talk. She drops a bombshell. She wants to know if his army is recruiting new soldiers. She didn't come here to find a husband. She came here to join the war. Felice can't believe what he's hearing. New soldiers? In the middle of a ballroom? Alexis realizes she messed up. She was way too direct. She's never had a social life, and it shows. Felice tells her the truth. It's not the recruitment season. They aren't taking any new conscripts. Alexis feels the chance slipping away. Everything she planned is about to fall apart. But then Felice changes his mind. He's never seen a lady this persistent before. He asks about the Tilrod family. He offers to send someone over to talk later. It's a yes. She actually did it. The door to her new life just swung open. Felice gives her the final answer. There's always a spot for someone willing to fight monsters. Alexis can't believe her own luck. She actually did it. Noble forces have way better perks than the Imperial Army. Most importantly, she'll get access to purification rituals. Everything is finally going her way. But the celebration doesn't last long. A man shouts from across the room. He's been looking everywhere for her. He calls her by her fake name, Miss Ratis. Alexis freezes. She didn't expect to be confronted this quickly, but she isn't the only one who heard him. The real Ratis is watching from the shadows. He's not happy. Who is this guy, and why is he hitting on her? Ratis is ready to step in and teach him a serious lesson. Alexis is stuck. How is she supposed to explain this mess now? The man doesn't care about the noble crowd. He grabs Alexis's arm with total force. He claims he was the one speaking first. He doesn't think anyone has the right to question him. Alexis is stunned. She can barely get a word out before he pulls her away. He wants to finish this conversation in private. He drags her across the ballroom floor. He's done being nice. He thinks he's been way too kind to her lately. He reminds her that she's overstepping her bounds. She's forgotten her place. He brings up the one thing she can't fight back against, her mother. She was left in his care for a reason, and he's not about to let her go. Alexis's plan for freedom just hit a massive, violent wall. What happens to her now? The man thinks he finally has her trapped. He tells her she's as good as his, but he clearly doesn't know who he's dealing with. One hit is all it takes. The impact sends him flying across the room. He's out cold. His soul looks like it's leaving his body. Alexis stands there, looking at the mess. Did she hit him a little too hard? She didn't want to resort to violence. Even a scoundrel like him isn't worth the extra effort. But now she has a bigger problem. She can't just leave him in the hallway. She has to hide him in a room before someone walks by. She grabs his legs and starts dragging. The party is still going on downstairs. If she gets caught with an unconscious body, her plan is over. Where can she hide him in time? Alexis finally drops him in a quiet room. He's completely out cold. He looks like a total zombie right now. But something catches her eye. A strange glow is coming from his pocket. It's a magic crystal. This guy is still dealing in the shadows. He hasn't changed one bit. Alexis picks it up. The light is beautiful, and it's incredibly valuable. This changes everything. If she makes it into the subjugation force, she won't just be fighting for a title. She'll have access to crystals like these, and she can keep them for herself. Her plan for freedom just got a lot more profitable, but can she really get away with it? Alexis makes a choice. She's going to keep these crystals for herself. She doesn't want to share this power, but the moment she touches the stone, something goes wrong. The light becomes blinding. It's reacting to her. She doesn't understand what's happening. The magic crystal is changing right before her very eyes. Suddenly, the glow dies. The stone just crumbles. It turns into useless gray dust in her hand. The demonic energy is completely gone. It's like the crystal was drained dry. Did she just absorb the power by accident? Or did she just destroy her only chance at a fortune? The mana stones are turning into useless dust. They are losing all their demonic energy. Why is this happening? Something is going wrong. The power is just vanishing into thin air. If the stones break, what happens to him? Something is happening inside her chest. This feeling is impossible. She isn't just breaking the stones, she is absorbing them. The power is flowing directly into her heart. She needs more. She has to find every stone she can. But can her body actually handle this much? Hover was a total fraud. He came home drunk so many times. The coachman didn't even ask questions. Alexis was being played this entire time. But Margaret mentioned a secret warehouse, a massive pile of stones hidden away. It has to be behind this bookshelf. One book is worn down more than the others. This is the key. The real treasure is just one click away. The hidden chest is finally wide open. It is overflowing with glowing mana stones. How did one man gather all of this? He is more wicked than she ever imagined. These stones are the Empire's main energy source, but they are filled with pure demonic energy. Normal people can't just touch this power. You can't control lightning by reaching for it, and you can't own the fire you start. An ordinary person should never be able to use this energy. So why is it flowing into her? She is breaking every rule of this world. Raw demonic energy is poison to a human. To use these stones, you need a device. Without one, it's like touching a live wire. It should burn her. It should destroy her. But for some reason, these stones are different. They aren't killing her. They are giving her mana. She learned how to use the energy inside her own body before, But taking it from the outside like this? That has never happened. The stones are turning to dust in her hands. Is she becoming something less than human? Or did something go terribly wrong with her? Did her body change when she traveled back? In this empire, mana is a gift very few ever receive. Even the strongest knights can train for years and still fail without natural talent. You are just a soldier with a sword. That is why building a mana core is a legendary achievement. It is the mark of a magic swordsman, a title that most only dream of. But Alexis is holding that impossible power right in her hand. She isn't just a swordsman anymore. She is becoming the very thing the empire fears and respects. How do you actually obtain a mana core? For most, it is a path of honor. But for Alexis, it was a nightmare. She didn't train for a title. She fought just to stay alive. Demonic energy was poisoning her from within. If she hadn't mastered it, then she would be dead. She had to find the mana hidden inside that lethal poison. It was a method no one would dare. A secret she kept buried for years, because if people knew how she survived, they wouldn't see a hero. They would see something far more dangerous. She needs answers, but she can't ask. Revealing this power would change everything. She has to keep this secret buried. A groan from the floor breaks the silence. She almost forgot he was even there. The man is barely conscious, mumbling a name. He's begging her not to leave him, but Alexis isn't here for a reunion. She looks back at the empty jewelry box. The stones are gone. The power is hers. There is nothing left for her in this room. She needs to vanish before he opens his eyes. If he wakes up now, the questions won't stop. It's time to go. She slips away into the shadows, leaving him with nothing but an empty box and a fading dream. The long night is finally over. Alexis returns home, completely drained. All she wants is to rest. She needs a plan to contact her teacher without getting caught. But the silence doesn't last long. A sharp voice cuts through the air. Margaret is waiting, and she is furious. She demands to know why Alexis is acting so bold and proud. Alexis plays it cool. She asks if she did something wrong. That simple question is like pouring oil on a raging fire. Margaret is convinced Alexis has finally lost her mind. The quiet homecoming just turned into a public execution. Margaret is losing it. She calls Alexis scandalous for staying out late, but Alexis isn't taking the bait. She reminds Margaret who forced her into this mess. Margaret was the one who pushed her toward that man. Now she's angry because Alexis actually followed the plan. The hypocrisy is too much to handle. Margaret raises her hand. She's ready to strike her down, but then everything stops. Margaret freezes midair. She looks at Alexis and sees someone she doesn't recognize. The girl who used to cower is nowhere to be found. There is a new kind of fire in those eyes. Margaret wanted a puppet, but she just realized she's facing a queen. Alexis has heard enough. She ends the argument with two simple words. Nothing happened. She doesn't wait for a response. She just turns around and walks away. Margaret is left, shaking with rage. She can't believe this brat is ignoring her. She screams after her with a disgusting threat. She warns Alexis not to come back, carrying a scandal. But Alexis doesn't even break her stride. She climbs the stairs without looking back. Margaret is spiraling. She complains to her maid that Alexis is delusional. She thinks a little growth gives her the right to push her mother around, but the damage is already done. The rumors are already spreading, and in this house, a bad reputation is a death sentence. A scandal is only a problem if you don't know how to sell it. Margaret just had a brilliant idea. If Crediam spent the night with her daughter, he owes her. She can use this to squeeze every cent out of him. With that money, she can finally save her son. She's convinced David is a genius who just needs a better school. The anger is gone. Now, there is only cold, hard greed. She calls for paper. It's time to send a bill. The very next day, a visitor arrives. Margaret is thrilled. She thinks Crediam is here to protect his reputation. He's early, and he's ready to pay. But the butler looks nervous. It's not the man she was expecting. The trap is set, but someone else just walked through the door. Margaret is already counting the money. She's got her best smile ready for the victim. She thinks she's the one in control, but the footsteps on the floor sound too heavy. The butler announces the guest, Marquis Yves Roussel, has arrived. This isn't the man she expected. Ratis walks in like he owns the entire room. He's draped in black and gold, and his gaze is cold enough to stop time. Margaret wanted a simple payday. Instead, she just invited a predator into her home. The blackmail plan just went up in smoke. Now, she has to survive the man standing before her. The Marquis of Russell has finally arrived, but his reputation is anything but noble. The servants can't help but whisper the rumors. They say a monster stole his soul, that he carries a curse wherever he goes. The family is desperate to keep Yuri quiet. They assume he's here to find a bride, but she is only 13. The tension is suffocating. Ratis sets down his cup. The room goes silent. He didn't come here to play house. The real reason he's here is about to change everything. Alexis has a problem. If Margaret sees this letter, it's going straight into the fire. She needs a new plan, a secret name, a way to stay under the radar. But then, a knock at the door. It's not time to eat. Nobody should be here. The door opens without an invitation. The shadow in the doorway is unmistakable. It's the Marquis. He doesn't wait for her to speak. He already knows who she is, or at least, who he thinks she is. Up close, he's even more intimidating than she thought. His presence alone fills the entire room. He doesn't waste time. He wants to know exactly who she is. Alexis isn't backing down. She calls him out for being disrespectful, but he just throws the insult right back. Then, he laughs. It's not the reaction she was expecting. He decides to play by the rules. A proper introduction. He is Eve Russell, the Marquis of Russell. The name hits her like a physical blow. This is the man everyone fears, and now, he's standing right in her bedroom. What does a monster want with her? The family is horrified. They think she's being completely disrespectful in those clothes. But the Marquis doesn't care about etiquette. He has a direct order. He wants her at his estate. Alexis is stunned. Why would a man like him want anything to do with her? Then comes the offer. He promises her privacy. He promises her freedom. And then, the number. 100 million lufen every year. That's not just a salary. That's enough to buy an entire cherry orchard. It's a fortune. She was ready for a fight. She was ready for a threat. But she wasn't ready for this. Is he actually serious? Or is this just a very expensive trap? The Marquis sees her hesitation and thinks it's about the money. He offers to double it without even blinking. Alexis is losing it. It's not about the gold. She just wants to know one simple thing. Why? She looks at her parents. They're practically groveling at his feet. He must have paid them a fortune to stay quiet. She's being sold off like a piece of property, but she needs to hear the truth from him. Why go to these lengths? Just to take her away? He doesn't give her a romantic answer. He doesn't even look her in the eye. He's here for the family disgrace. And just like that, her entire worth is stripped away. He knows her reputation. The girl who ruined her own brother's future. The black sheep. The family disgrace. But her mother doesn't care about that. She's too busy staring at the check. A massive consolation fee for taking Alexis away. She even warns him, tells him her daughter is a handful, an ill-mannered child who only causes trouble. She's basically washing her hands of her. No responsibility, no regrets. The Marquis finds it almost too easy. He asks her plainly, "Don't you want to know what I'll do to her?" But the answer is even colder. Why would they question his wisdom? They aren't selling a daughter. They're getting rid of a problem, and they have no idea what they just handed over to him. She's an outcast, a stranger in the house where she grew up, and that makes her exactly like him. Ratis expected her to be broken, to be too afraid, to even look up, but she's different. She actually has the nerve to push back. He decides it's time to stop the games. She wants to know why he's buying her, why he's taking her away from this life. It has nothing to do with her parents, and it has nothing to do with her reputation. He's doing this because of one man, the third prince, Olivier Arpend. The real game is finally beginning. The Marquis brings up the birthday banquet. That moment in the greenhouse wasn't just a coincidence. Alexis finally connects the dots. The man she met, the one she couldn't forget, that was the prince, Olivier Arpend. The initials on the cloth finally make sense. Ratis confirms it. The Ice Prince himself has taken an interest in her, and in this world, interest from royalty is never a gift. Alexis isn't buying it. He's paying a fortune to take her away, just because a prince looked her way? It makes no sense. It's too suspicious, because she knows better than anyone. It wasn't just interest. There's something much darker hidden behind that name. Ratis can't believe her casual attitude. Does she have any idea who the third prince is? To the rest of the world, Olivier is a doll, a breathing statue, made of marble. no emotions, no smiles, and definitely, no interest in women. Ratis even admits, he went to extremes, just to get a reaction. He actually tried, unbuttoning his own shirt, to see if the prince would even blink. Alexis has heard enough. She doesn't need the mental image. But the point is clear. The prince is an impregnable fortress. He doesn't let anyone in, so if he showed even a flicker of interest in a girl like Alexis, that makes her the ultimate investment. He's not just taking her away, he's buying a key to the prince's heart. Alexis sees it for what it really is. He can call it an investment all he wants, but no matter how he phrases it, she's being sold, and the price is her entire life. Alexis makes a choice. If he wants to use her, she'll use him right back. Ratis lays it out. This isn't just a deal, it's a chance to strike first, to walk away, before her family can throw her away. The word sticks in her mind, an opportunity. She's spent her life waiting for a way out. Now the door is open, and she's not just walking through, she's seizing it. The girl who was sold is gone. The player has entered the game. She's ready to see just how far this new life will take her. A man is begging for his life. He claims he knows absolutely nothing. He even blames a head injury for losing every memory of the prince's banquet. The guards aren't convinced. They hand over a letter from the merchantry, evidence that doesn't match his story. The voice from the shadows doesn't buy the act. How can someone lose a shipment of tribute stones and have no answers? The man thinks he's being clever until the interrogator brings up the side hustle, the secret embezzlement, the stones he stole for himself. The man's world collapses. He thought he was hiding in the dark, but the Marquis was watching the whole time. He's done being patient. When a man like this says he appreciates your efforts, it's time to start praying. The man is desperate. He begs for one more chance to find the real thief, but his master has already moved on. He's already named his prime suspects, Marquis Ratis, or the third prince. A single black orb is dropped, a small object with a heavy price. It's a cold dismissal. The man was useful until he wasn't, and in this world, useless things get thrown away. The room erupts. No more questions, no more begging, just the sound of a man's end. The hooded figures don't even flinch. They have a job to finish. Every piece of paper, every scrap of evidence is fed to the flames. The last letter is gone. The trail is cold, and the fire covers everything. The fire didn't catch everything. One scrap of paper remains in his hand. A single clue, saved from the ash. The Tillard family. The name hangs in the air like a threat. Ratis has found his next lead, and for this family, the nightmare is just beginning. Something about this feels completely wrong. Alexis is packing, but there's no wedding. Elaine can't understand why the master is taking money to send her away. When my family was desperate, they sold me into service, but this family isn't even poor, so why is he selling his own daughter? Alexis knows the stakes. If the prince doesn't want me, what happens then? Ratis doesn't blink. Then the contract ends. But for now, you are a Russell. I'll protect your status for 2 years, but you have to play your part. We need to know if the prince is actually interested, so you must cooperate. Ratis is laying it all on the line. If the rumors are true, you have to help me. You need to sincerely seduce the third prince. Alexis can't help but wonder, have we met somewhere before? Ratis just smiles. This is our first time. I wouldn't forget someone like you. So what's it going to be? Alexis weighs her options. They're offering room and board. A Marquis wouldn't lie about that. Fine, I'll do it. The contract is set. But Elaine is absolutely terrified. It's Marquis Russell. Haven't you heard the rumors about him? This man is dangerous, and Alexis just signed her life away. Elaine has changed. She's stopped seeing me as the family troublemaker. Now she looks at me like a young lady who needs to be saved. She thinks Margaret is being unfair. But pity won't change anything here. Stop acting like you care for no reason. Trying to help me won't do you any favors. Just mind your own business. Elaine tries to protest, but the truth is colder. Look at this family. They're selling off their own daughter. If they can do that to me, what do you think they'll do to a maid? Elaine has no answer. In this house, nobody is safe. The door is open. Alexis is finally leaving this place. She's not looking back. I'm sorry, but it's over. Whatever you were hoping to get from my life, it's never going to happen. Not in this lifetime. Not ever. She's walking away from their greed and their plans, and as she goes, the past starts to burn. The flame sword is waking up. She's leaving the shadows to start a fire they can't put out. The old Alexis is gone, and the new one? She's about to change everything. The carriage is waiting. Alexis stops for one last thing. Since it's the end, I should say goodbye. She keeps it simple, just a final farewell, but Margaret just laughs it off. Oh my, you're acting like we'll never meet again. Of course we will, but then the mask starts to slip. When you get to the Marquis' house, make sure you talk to the right people. Help your siblings out. Margaret isn't losing a daughter today. She's gaining a spy in a high place. Alexis just stares. She sees exactly what this is, but there's one person missing. Where is father? He didn't even show up to watch her leave. Margaret just scoffs. How should I know where that man is? He hasn't been home since last night. Alexis doesn't move. He didn't even bother to see me off. Not that I expected anything different. But Margaret isn't done. She gets close and points a finger. Carve this into your mind, Alexis. Everything you do must be for the Tilrod family. Think of your brother before yourself. Then comes the final insult. I don't care if it's Marquis Ratis. Don't you dare come back pregnant. Alexis stands there in the silence. It's not a surprise. In their eyes, I'm not a daughter. I'm just a girl being sold off to become the Marquis' mistress. Everyone thinks they know my future, but they have no idea who they're dealing with. These people really haven't changed a bit. It doesn't matter. I have nothing more to expect from them. I decided a long time ago to stop caring, but Margaret can't handle the silence. You don't even pretend to listen to your mother. Alexis doesn't flinch. She just hits back. If you're so worried about me coming back ruined, maybe you shouldn't have sold me. You should have said from the start that your daughter wasn't for sale. Margaret gasps. Oh, how hurtful. I only did this for our family. I did this for your brother. Then the fake tears disappear. Think of how much you've hindered us. No one blames me for sending you away. 10 out of 10 people would tell me to get rid of a daughter like you. The truth is out. They don't just want her gone. They want her to feel worthless. On her way out, Alexis stands by the carriage door. She has one thing left to say. One question that needs an answer. Why did you go this far with me? What did I do to deserve this? Margaret just stammers. What are you even talking about? But Alexis isn't playing games anymore. She lays it out. You never loved the child you suffered to birth. Not even once. Margaret looks stunned. You never touched David or Yuri. You wouldn't dream of hurting them. But with me, you raised your hand against me so easily. The silence says everything she needs. She's not just leaving a house. She's leaving a lifetime of scars. And this time, she's not coming back. What exactly did I do so wrong? Why was I the one who had to make every sacrifice? Margaret loses it. She screams at the top of her lungs. You? Sacrifices? I'm the one who sacrificed everything. You've forgotten the grace of being fed and sheltered. All you care about are your own petty grievances. Then she says the unthinkable. You suffered because you deserved it. Alexis stops cold. She repeats the words slowly. So you're saying I deserved it? The mask is completely gone now. Right until the very end. You never loved me. You never even saw me as your daughter. The last string finally snaps. There's no more reason to stay, and no more reason to care. I spent years pleading for love. I promised I'd be good enough. But looking back, that desperation only made me an easy target. Alexis clenches her fist tight. I don't need you people anymore. The struggle for your sake ends right here. She looks her mother in the eye. I'm done trying to earn a place I never had. So right now, this is me leaving. The door is closing for good, and she isn't looking back. Margaret is stunned. She thinks Alexis has truly lost it, but Yuri steps in with a fake smile. She tells Alexis not to take it to heart, that everyone is just stressed out. But then the real motive drops. She asks for an invitation to the Marquis' house, and don't forget to send presents. It's pure greed, wrapped in a sisterly hug. Alexis doesn't even give her a look. She just turns her back on the whole mess. She picks up her suitcase and walks away from the only home she's ever known. The footsteps are heavy and final. She climbs into the carriage without a single word. The door shuts. The past is finally behind her. And for this family, The free rides are officially over. The mansion is finally in the rearview mirror. I'm finally leaving, no more looking back. Alexis sits in the quiet carriage. She pulls out a sealed letter. Teacher? I did the right thing, didn't I? She grips the paper tight, taking this chance. It was the only way forward. The carriage rolls through the streets, leaving the noise of the past. She's heading toward a new life, one she chose for herself. The journey has officially begun. The head butler is already waiting. Welcome to the Marquis's household. Alan is here to handle everything. This place is absolutely massive. The birthday banquet was just a tiny glimpse. The Russell estate is a whole different world. Alan offers to take her luggage, but there is hardly anything to actually take. This one bag is everything she has left. The new life starts right now. But is she really ready for this much power? Alexis insists on carrying her own bag. Alan doesn't argue. He just leads the way inside. This isn't just a guest room. It's a palace, hidden behind a door. Gold everywhere and more space than she could ever need. There has to be some kind of mistake. This room is way too large. A small corner would have been more than enough. The Marquis must have told them the wrong thing. They're treating her like royalty, but she's just a girl with one small bag. How is she supposed to feel at home here? This room wasn't a simple mistake. The Marquis ordered this specifically. Alan leaves her with a warning. The master will see her soon, but the staff knows something that she doesn't. The madam has her reasons for being so cold. It's a secret, hidden in the halls. The order is clear. Treat her well. Alexis just wants to send a letter. She finds the maids to ask for help, but the moment she speaks up, they completely lose it. They're acting like she's a monster. One mention of a simple favor, and they're scrambling in pure panic. What kind of reputation did she bring into this house? The letter is gone, but the fear is staying put. The maids are clearly avoiding her. It makes sense. She's just another mouth to feed, but it's deeper than just work. Did the rumors already get here? The story that she sabotaged the eldest son's future, the academy admission he never got. To everyone here, she's just trouble. A girl who caught the prince's eye and got lucky. Seeing her in this luxury room only adds fuel to the fire. Resentment is growing behind every door. They see a villain living like a pampered guest. This isn't right. She can't stay in this shadow. Something has to change immediately. Being treated like this feels completely wrong, all because the prince showed a little interest. It's weighing heavily on her conscience. Did Prince Olivier even care at all? The whole idea sounds like nonsense. Maybe she's just overthinking everything. But then she catches her reflection. If she was the one who fell first, that changes the story. Was her face always this red when he was around? She didn't even realize it then. Looking in the mirror makes it all worse. She looks even more ridiculous now. The truth is finally catching up. 100 million rupen, all for a smile. The Marquis acted way too fast on this. This luxury room and the massive salary just don't feel right. She was blinded by the opportunity at first, but now it feels like she's taking advantage of a naive man. If she stays, she's no better than a common scammer. The contract has to be called off. She isn't some helpless girl looking for charity. She has skills that actually mean something. The plan is simple. Stay for a few days, then head straight for the Rothschild family. She can earn her keep the hard way. The monster subjugation squad is where she belongs. No more easy money. It's time to prove what she's really worth. A knock at the door breaks the silence. Ratis Tilrod is here, earlier than expected. He was supposed to wait until dinner. Alexis needs to speak right this second. The contract, the money, it all has to stop. But he isn't the only one in the hall. A sharp voice cuts through the conversation. Margaret is approaching with a look that could freeze the room. She isn't happy about how things are being handled. A guest should be introduced properly first. Ratis is getting a very public lesson in manners. The situation just got a lot more complicated. Alexis is trapped between a deal she wants out of and a woman who clearly doesn't want her here. The formal introductions start off cold. Ratis presents his grandmother, the Dowager Marquis, but she isn't interested in pleasantries. She takes one look at Alexis's clothes and calls her a tomboy. In this house, appearances are everything, and Alexis is failing the first test. The tension only rises when the family name comes into play. a daughter of the Tilrods, staying with a man, without being engaged? It's a massive scandal. Margaret demands to know if her parents approved. Alexis sticks to the story. She claims they were the ones who sent her, but that answer only makes the fire spread. The dowager is furious. No decent parents would ever allow this. She sees right through what she calls a lie. Ratis tries to explain, but he's silenced instantly. The room is shaking with her rage. She's tired of waiting for a suitable bride, and now this stranger is bringing shame to the family doorstep. The welcome is officially over. Margaret is pulling out the ultimate weapon, guilt. She claims Alexis's behavior would break her parents, that she's failing her duty as a child. She orders her to go home immediately. To Margaret, family honor is the only law. She thinks she's won this little argument. But Alexis isn't moving. She has a different view of the world. Some people have no right to be parents. The dowager Marquis is completely stunned by that. Margaret tries to double down on her logic. She believes only children can forgive a parent, no matter how flawed that parent might be. Alexis doesn't back down. She used to think the exact same way, but the look in her eyes says everything. She's seen a side of family that Margaret can't even imagine. The lecture is over. Alexis finally snaps. The mask of the polite guest is gone. She tried so hard to understand her family. She spent her life begging for their acceptance. Every mistake felt like her own fault. The pain was more than anyone could imagine. She isn't just talking about a disagreement. She's talking about survival. She turns her focus back to the dowager. Society always talks about the duty of children, but no one mentions the duty of parents. Some parents are the ones causing the wounds. Ratis tries to step in to calm the situation, but Alexis stops him. She knows exactly what is happening here. Margaret is just saying what society expects. The room is silent. The lecture on manners has turned into a harsh lesson on reality. Alexis isn't a child to be scolded anymore. She's someone who knows the cost of family. Things that are natural to ordinary people feel impossible for Alexis. She offers a quiet apology before walking away. The conversation is over. Margaret calls out, trying to stop her, but Alexis doesn't look back. She's done being lectured on her basic decency. She's done being called a failure of a child. The dowager's words still echo in the air. Accusations of driving nails through her parents' hearts, but Alexis knows the truth. This wasn't about rebellion, it was about survival. She made a choice for the Tilrod family, and more importantly, for David's future. If that makes her a villain in their eyes, she'll accept the title. She reaches the carriage, waiting outside. The driver calls her name, ready to move out. The mansion is behind her. Her real journey is finally beginning. Alexis is riding away from everything she knew, but the dowager's words are still haunting her. Is she just supposed to be crushed again? Is that her only duty as a human? If that's the case, once was more than enough. She was given a second chance at life. Living through that misery twice is just too cruel. She refuses to let history repeat itself. The path ahead is growing cold and dark. She's entering a place she could never forget. It's damp and heavy, with a malicious aura. This forest holds memories she tried to bury, but she's back now, and the darkness is already waiting for her. The pieces are finally falling into place. This isn't just any noble's territory. The Russell Marquis estate is famous for one very specific reason. It sits right on the edge of hell. The monster forest is just a step away. This location was never meant to be safe. The air here is thick with danger. Alexis knows exactly what this proximity means. She hasn't just arrived at a new home. She's stepped right into the mouth of the beast. This isn't just close, it's right on the edge. The forest of monsters is practically her backyard. I knew it was nearby, but not this close. This is the Forbidden Land, a place Alexis knows all too well. She spent her past life stuck in these woods. It's a literal death trap, and right now, something is watching her. From the dark, the endless marches, the blood, the monsters. Alexis remembers it all, even the dark energy that finally killed her. It's all still so vivid, but she didn't hate this place, not even for a second. Vice Captain, did you hear what he just said? David's voice cuts through the dark memories. Back then, these people were her everything. The forest was brutal. It was a nightmare, but it felt more like home than her own family ever did. She lived a lie to stay by their side. Alexis kept her mouth shut for years. If she spoke too much, they'd know. They'd find out. She was a woman, but her comrades never doubted her. They followed her without a single question. I trust you, D. The captain was just like her, a man of few words, but when he did speak, it felt like sunlight. His name was Robert, and he was the one who truly believed in her. That life was the only time she felt she belonged, but Robert never got to finish his sentence. What was he going to say to her? She'll never know, because the present just came crawling out of the shadows. Three-eyed wolves, low-ranking monsters, but they're starving, and they never hunt alone. Alexis doesn't have a sword on her, she doesn't have her armor, but that's fine, she doesn't need a blade to start a fire. The wolves think they've found an easy meal, they've surrounded her in the dark, but they have no idea who they're dealing with. In her past life, she was just a soldier, a sword was her only lifeline, but things are different this time around, because now, I have a monocore. She doesn't need to swing a blade, the fire inside her is already screaming to be let out. The hunters just became the ones being hunted. One swing is all it takes. The darkness is gone. In a flash of heat, the wolf didn't even have time to yelp. It's just ash now. But Alexis isn't celebrating, she's looking at her hands. I only shaped the mana loosely into a sword, so it falls apart way too easily. To anyone else, this was a miracle. To her, it was a failure. She has the power, but her current body can't hold the edge. She needs something solid to carry this flame. Raw power comes with a heavy price. This fire consumes way too much mana. Without a real blade to channel the energy, she's burning through her reserves too fast. Even so, the message was sent. The rest of the pack isn't sticking around to find out what happens next. They're gone, vanished back into the deep shadows. Alexis lets out a long breath. The immediate danger has finally passed, but the forest is still burning, and she's just getting started. Even a dead monster has its uses. Alexis isn't leaving empty-handed. The magic stone is small, just a low-ranking prize from a weak beast, but it's better than nothing. She's already thinking 3 steps ahead. If House Rothschild turns her away, this is her survival fund. She can sell these to stay alive, at least for a while. The adrenaline is fading. The cold reality is starting to set in. First, she needs to move. The rain is falling, but the path ahead is still unwritten. The rain can't wash away these memories. Alexis is going back to where it started. She's returning to the house of Marquis Russell. She remembers the shouting, the way Margaret gripped that handle with spite. There's a conversation they never finished, and Alexis isn't planning on leaving it open. She doesn't want to use the Marquis for a simple favor. She wants something more. A small smile plays on her lips. The fire inside her isn't out yet. Even in the mud, the embers still burn. The hunt is over. The reckoning begins. The battle is over, but the cost is high. Alexis is completely sidelined. She didn't see this coming at all. A common cold has pinned her to the bed, but she knows the truth. It isn't just the rain. This new body wasn't ready for that much mana. She pushed too hard, and her system crashed. A sound of coughing fills the quiet room. Elaine rushes over with a worried look. She wants to know how much rain Alexis actually got caught in. Alexis plays along. She claims she's fine through the exhaustion. It's a perfect cover. Let them believe it was just the weather. The truth about her power is a secret she's not ready to share. Keeping a secret is a full-time job. Alexis is playing it safe. She's glad she never mentioned the monocore. Being found out would only mean trouble. But her plan for a quiet recovery just went out the window. Suddenly, the room is crawling with people. Why are there so many maids in here? One wants to change her clothes. Another has lemon water and hot soup ready. They're even fighting over the towel on her forehead. Alexis can barely keep up. She offers a quiet thanks just to stay polite. She wanted to be invisible. Instead, she's the center of the entire household. If she isn't careful, this much attention might reveal exactly what she's hiding. Alexis takes a sip and tries to process what's happening. This doesn't feel like a trap. They aren't here to torment her. She wonders if this is just how life is for a Marquis, being surrounded by constant attention. She offers a simple thank you. The reaction is instant. The maids are losing their minds. They can't believe she actually spoke to them like that. It's like they've never seen a noble with manners before. Alexis is just confused. She was expecting hostility, not a fan club. But the mood in the room shifts fast. A shadow falls over the bed. A man stands there, looking down at her with a heavy gaze. The games are over. The real master of the house has arrived. Alexis looks up, and the pieces finally click together. It's him, head butler Alan. Seeing his face brings back a memory she'd rather forget. She remembers the horse, the one she took without asking, the one she used to make her escape. Back then, she didn't care. about the rules. But now, she's cornered in bed. Alan isn't saying a single word. He just stands there, watching her. His silence is louder than a shout. Alexis is certain. He hasn't forgotten. He must be absolutely furious. She's survived monsters and magic, but this might be her toughest encounter yet. The man in charge of the house is finally here to settle the score. Stealing that horse back in the day was a huge mistake. Now the head butler is finally catching up. He looks like he's about to explode. I'm so sorry, head butler Alan, please don't be mad, but the room is a total disaster. Why are 12 people crowding one patient? Everyone get out. The butler isn't playing around today. He cleared the room in a heartbeat. Sorry you had to see all this chaos. Ratis, this was definitely a bizarre experience. Ratis thinks this chaos is just standard service for a noble house, but the head butler knows the real truth. It wasn't about nursing. Every single maid fought for the chance to be near you. They think you look like a handsome hero from a famous story, a total heartthrob to every woman here. I honestly don't get it. Why do they see a handsome boy when they look at me? At least it's a relief. I really thought the maids hated me. I guess I was wrong. I'm so sorry, Alan. I shouldn't have just taken the horse and disappeared like that. I was ready for a massive lecture, but he just tells me it's perfectly fine. Wait, that's it? He's already planning my recovery, a quiet maid, and some special tonic to get me back on my feet. Aren't you even going to scold me? I expected a fight, not this kindness. He's just glad I made it back in one piece, but then he says something I didn't expect. Next time you're upset, don't just run away. Vent your frustrations on me instead. If you had reached the forest of monsters, he can't even finish that sentence. I had no idea he was this worried. Alan really was scared to death of losing me. I can hear it in his voice. Thank you so much for caring this much. It means more than I can say. But the surprises aren't over yet. The Marquis is here, and he's not empty-handed. I'm truly sorry about what happened yesterday. He's actually bowing? This is a side of Ratis I've never seen. It's alright, Marquis. I'm the one who made a mess with your mother. He doesn't want to hear excuses. He just hands over a massive bouquet of yellow roses, a get-well gift from the man who usually looks like he's made of ice. What is he really up to? This bouquet is massive, but it's not just flowers. The dowager sent all this: dresses, indoor clothes, an entire mountain of gifts, just to say sorry. I made it very clear to the dowager. I am your guardian now. This never would have happened if I had been more direct from the start. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. It was my mistake, entirely my fault. I always thought Marquis Ratis was just a terrifying man, but hearing him say this, the hurt from before is just starting to fade. No, Marquis, I shouldn't have gone there without a reason. That doesn't matter. There was no reason for you to hear those horrible things. So I told her not to come back. She's banned from the mansion until she gives you a real apology. Wait, what? He banned his own mother? He's making sure nothing like this ever happens again. Is it really okay for me to stay here? Why is he going this far for me? If I can just win over Prince Olivier, my path to the top is basically guaranteed. And that's where you come in. I need you to be the stepping stone that connects us. But Marquis, aren't you worried? If I'm not effective, you're just throwing your money away. He actually laughs at the idea. Do you really think I'm that much of a fool? I have plenty of other options. You're just the most promising one I have right now. That's all you are. A method to an end. And if you fail, I'll just find someone else. This level of investment is nothing to me. Do you really think feeding one person affects my wealth? He's annoying, but he's right. So just relax. Focus on your recovery. For now, he says he'll use me to become a duke. This man isn't a fool. He's taking a gamble on this investment. To him, I'm just a cherry farm, and even if the harvest fails by chance, that doesn't mean it's the cherry's fault. He's taking all the risk. You're right. Gambling chips are precious, after all. Now we're talking. I'm looking forward to working with you, Ratis. The deal is sealed. I'm his best bet, and he's my only way out. But in this game, who's really using who? I'm looking forward to working with you too, Marquis. The deal is official, but I've already done the math. 2 years. If I stay here for exactly 2 years and play my part to the best of my ability, that should be enough. I'll give him what he wants, but during that time, I'm finding my own way to live. This isn't just A contract for him. It's my countdown. To freedom. 2 years to change. Everything. Let the game begin. This is a first. For me. I've never actually received flowers as a gift before. They smell so nice. It's like the cold is finally leaving my body. But as I rest, the man who gave them to me is already moving into the shadows. A name echoes from a memory long forgotten. Eve. If you're afraid of the dark, I will walk right beside you. A promise made in the past. But who was it for? And why does it feel so familiar now? He has one goal, and he doesn't care what it costs. No matter what, I will reclaim the title of Duke. He's not just climbing the ladder for himself. Everything he does, every risk he takes, it's all for one person. Just for you. But who is he really talking to? And what happens when he finally gets what he wants? The morning peace doesn't last long. Ratis is barely awake before the door is kicked open. Get up and work. Earn your keep. The demands start before she can even breathe. I'm up. She doesn't argue. She just moves. Life at the Marquisate was supposed to be a total dream, but dreams can turn into nightmares pretty fast. What exactly are they making her do? The change is absolutely wild. The beds are softer than clouds. I'm definitely buying one of these when I leave. The food is on another level. Dishes I've never even seen before. Just keep coming. You need to eat more, Ratis. Even the maids are being nice. They're inviting her to private tea parties instead of resenting her. It's strange. They actually seem to like her. As long as she follows the agreed upon schedule, her time is her own. But the gifts don't stop coming. We're making you a custom dress. Come to the drawing room for more measurements. Lady Muriel already gave me so many. Why do they need another one? What are they really preparing her for? The dresses are the last thing on her mind. The ones I have are perfectly fine. But a sudden interruption changes everything. Lady Ratis, a letter has arrived for you. It's finally here. Professor Armano's reply. She doesn't just take the letter. She stops to acknowledge the help. Thank you so much, Barry. She remembered my name. The small gesture means the world to the staff. But Ratis is already moving. I need to open this right away. The letter starts with a warmth she hasn't felt in a long time. To my lovely and precious disciple, Ratis. What news is the professor sending her? Ratis sits alone with the letter. Armano's words are heavy with emotion. Hearing that you're at the Russell estate fills my heart with joy and sorrow. He's honest about her past life. Anywhere is better for you than House Tillard. But the guilt still haunts him. The sorrow comes from how helpless I felt when I left you behind. Ratis can't help but smile. Professor Armano hasn't changed a bit. He's honestly better suited to be a bard than a knight. But then the letter gets serious. It's time for the answers she actually needs. Regarding your question about mana manipulation, there are many ways to refine your power and increase your reserves. Is she finally about to unlock her true potential? The news isn't what she hoped for. Regrettably, I don't know a way to convert the malice within mana stones. I've never even heard of such a thing before. It's a dead end. Even a master like Armano is stumped by this. But he doesn't want her discouraged. Still, I am thrilled that you're showing an interest in mana cultivation. He wants to be there for every step of her journey. My heart longs to devote itself entirely to your tutelage. But he knows the reality of her situation. It pains me to say that you are still far too young. He leaves the door wide open. Please write to me when the time comes and you require my aid. Your master may be incompetent and unable to do much, but as long as it is within my power, I am always ready to assist you. Armano is her greatest ally, but without his help, how will she purify the stones? The professor is trying to teach her the basics, but I already know how to use mana. In my past life, I didn't realize my potential until my late 20s. This time, things are very different. Thanks to those old memories, I've already formed a mana core. She's years ahead of schedule, but even the professor is clueless about one thing. He has no idea how to convert the malice in those stones. She looks at the simple spoon in her hand. With my current skill, I could reach the mid-tier of the monster forest. She doesn't need a sword. Just this teaspoon is enough to start a fire. I'll have to return to the monster forest soon to find answers. Mana itself has no physical form, it's invisible, it's weightless. But in the right hands, it becomes a weapon more lethal than any blade. If she's this strong now, what happens when she gets a real weapon? The spoon snaps like it's nothing. Why did it break? Is my mana really this potent? She's stronger than she even realized. I just hope this wasn't expensive. But there's no time to worry about the silverware. Lady Ratis, the Marquis is waiting. She's rushed into a different kind of battle. Now then, first, the measurements. Then comes the endless list. Skin treatments, hair care, nail appointments. It doesn't stop. Foot massages, full body treatments, posture correction and etiquette lessons 3 times a week. And the big one, general education to prepare you for the crown prince. Ratis is drowning in all of it. Is all of this really necessary? These fake nails are so uncomfortable. She's about to reach her limit, but then a voice whispers in her ear. Do you not wish to see Prince Olivier again? That one name changes everything. I mean, it would be nice, I suppose. She's trapped. They know exactly which buttons to push to keep her in line. But can a warrior like her really survive a life of silk and tea parties? If you want to impress someone, you have to put in the work. The Marquis isn't taking any chances. He's brought in the best of the best. Don't worry, my lady. I am Celia, the head seamstress of the most prestigious shop in the south. She's not just making a dress, she's crafting a masterpiece for a once-in-a-lifetime romance. But when it comes to colors, Ratis has one simple request. As long as it isn't pink, the Marquis has other ideas. Silver and purple. He's going all out. I don't care what it costs. 10 outfits for each color. Ratis can only stand there and take it. But then it hits her. This isn't a gift. This is the price of my room and board. She's an investment now, and she has to prove she's worth every single coin. The pressure is starting to crush her. This is going to be the death of me. Even her tutor can see she's reaching her limit. Shall we postpone today's lesson, Lady Ratis? She looks at the mountain of books before her. No, I want to do my best while I'm here. She's not just learning etiquette, she's fighting for her place in this new world. But how long can she keep this pace up before she breaks? The tutor decides to change the pace. Instead of difficult subjects, let's try some light reading. He pulls out a book called The Adventures of Prince Dantes. Ratis stares at the cover. Is this a storybook? She's seen this before, but only from a distance. The few books we had at home belonged to David. She remembers her brother guarding it. We studied together, but he never let me touch this one. I only ever saw the cover. The tutor looks at her, puzzled. It may look like a storybook, but it's actually a rare treasure. The imperial family only gives these to noble houses who have performed great deeds. Ratis looks at the worn pages. So that's why it looked so old back home. But she starts to wonder, just how long ago were these great deeds performed? The tutor's expression turns serious. Actually, since you are a Tilrod, I assumed you would be familiar with every word. Ratis is confused. Why would you assume that? The tutor pauses, his voice dropping. Because what is hidden in these pages that her family kept from her? The tutor points to the illustration. The hero of this entire story, Alexis Tilrod. She isn't just a legend in some old book. The tutor's voice is heavy with the truth. She is actually your direct ancestor. Ratis can hardly believe what she's hearing right now. The blood of the greatest hero runs through her very own veins. But if her family is this important, why was she treated like an outsider for so many years? The gates of hell swung wide open. Monsters flooded the world and swallowed the light. Everything was lost until a divine revelation changed the fate of the entire continent. Prince Dantes was chosen to find 3 legends: the Spear of Light, the Shield of Eternity, and the final piece, the Sword of Flame. Wait, is this man really the legendary Alexis Tilrod? The history is true. The Shield of Eternity was the founding father of House Russell. How amusing. The bloodlines that once saved the entire world are now playing dress up. They speak of legends while wearing pretty lace, but they forgot The price of victory. The prince and his knights marched into the dark. They fought for everyone, but every journey demands a sacrifice. The sword of flame was the first to fall, then the shield broke. Finally, even the light vanished into nothing. Vanished? That is the mystery. Some say he died, others whisper about betrayal. The spear of light left no records behind, no family, no stories. He just ceased to exist. While the other knights built great noble houses, he became a ghost in the history books. But the war ended. Prince Dantes won. He reclaimed the land and built a kingdom bathed in golden light. The gates were sealed. The nightmare was over, or so they thought. The monsters didn't die, they just retreated. They crawled away into a single forest, and that forest is still out there. The forest of monsters. It is the ultimate cautionary tale. Every child is taught to never go near that forbidden land. It is a place where even the elite tread with fear. One wrong step means certain death. But would a story have really stopped me? In my last life, I didn't run away. I wasn't afraid. Like someone possessed, I walked straight into the heart of the darkness. That was the end of my first life, and the beginning of all my secrets. Fate is a cruel joke. It led me straight into that nightmare. The forest was a graveyard. Soldiers fell like leaves in a storm of light. But before the end, life was different. Vice Captain, is the rumor true? Did the captain really go to the capital? Is he finally receiving the mark of a magic swordsman? The camp is buzzing. A magic swordsman is a living legend. It changes everything for our unit. But the vice captain doesn't say a word. Behind that cold steel, she already knows the weight of a title and the price that comes with it. The news is official. The Imperial Palace is finally doing its job. It took them years to recognize the captain. He was a mana user long before this, but he kept refusing to take the mark. Now, the mood has shifted. The men are hungry for a different kind of victory. They want to see the look on the faces of those Roderick bastards. For years, that house mocked the captain. They called him nothing but a bastard son. But who is laughing now? They feel bold today. They think they're safe out here by the forbidden land. No one to hear them, no one to report them. They're already planning a massive feast for the captain's return. They think this is the start of a new golden era, but they have no idea what is waiting for them in those woods. The men are already looking at me next. They think I should be the one receiving the next mark. After all, I have the mana for it. I am stronger than any of those fools back in the capital. But the celebration is cut short. A messenger arrives with a grave warning. The Imperial Inspection Party has done the unthinkable. They were told to wait for the captain's return. Instead, they marched straight into the forbidden land. They left a note claiming they were just heading back to the barracks. But the tracks don't lie. They've walked right into a death trap. Have these people completely lost their minds? Now, their arrogance has become our deadly problem. The men are looking to me for answers. What place do those inspectors think this is? Walking into those woods on their own is suicide. If they are so determined to die, then let them. We warned them more than enough. But it's not that simple. If we just stand by, the consequences won't stay in the forest. We cannot simply leave them to rot. If the Imperial Party dies like this, the blame won't just fall on us. It will fall directly on Captain Robert. Of all the times to come investigating, they chose the moment the captain was away, and now this disaster. The politics of the capital are a different kind of death trap. I can't let them destroy him, not like this. There is no more time for thinking. We move now. We split into 3 separate squads. The advance team will track them. The rest of us will handle the monsters. The men don't hesitate for a second. They follow my lead because they have to, but I do it for the captain. I still remember what he told me before he left. He said he trusts me, that I am the only person he can entrust his rear to. He left his men in my hands. He left his entire legacy with me. He started to say something else that day, something that felt different, but he stopped himself. He promised to tell me the rest of it only when he returns. I told him to travel safely. Now, I have to make sure there is a home for him to return to. What was it he really wanted to say? That question still haunts me, but there is no room for memories in this place. The forbidden land is already screaming. One swing is all it takes to ignite the darkness. I'll burn every monster in my path. The flames are my only protection, but even fire has its limits. I can feel the weight of the air. The forest is closing in on me, and I am not alone out here. Something is watching from the shadows. Something with red eyes, and a steady aim. The real hunt is just beginning. The arrows keep coming. These things are crawling through the trees, like a plague. I should be at my limit. I've burned through more energy today than ever before. But I don't feel the drain, just the opposite. My mana has actually increased. It's surging through me, stronger than before. When I collapsed in the past, I blamed the magic. I thought I was just weak, but that wasn't the whole story. The rain and the sudden shock were the real culprits. Now, the world feels like it's no match for me. I can keep this fire burning forever if I want, but why now? Why is my power growing so suddenly in a place meant to kill me? Look at this mess. I'm drenched in so much monster blood. It's actually disgusting. Normally, this much contact would be a death sentence. I should be showing signs of corruption. My body should be breaking down under the weight of this filth. But I feel perfectly fine. In fact, I feel better than ever. I've become far stronger than the version of me from my previous life. Is it because I've been given a second chance? Is this the price of rebirth? If I keep growing like this, if I surpass every limit I once had, what kind of monster will I have to become to finish this? If my power is this much greater, maybe the future isn't set in stone. Maybe I can actually change what's coming for us. For now, I need to head back. This forest is the perfect place to sharpen my blade. I'll have to keep coming here. The monsters are the only ones who don't ask questions. I do feel a bit guilty about lying to Marquis Russell, but how do I even begin to explain this? I can't exactly tell him that I've already lived this life once before. He'd think I've completely lost my mind. Some secrets are better left buried. But I'm not the only one keeping a close watch. Ratis is already tracking my every move, and he's starting to notice the gaps in my story. It's getting late, far too late for a casual stroll. Ratis watches her from the shadows. Where could she possibly be returning from at this hour? She's moving quietly, trying to slip back without being noticed. But in this house, nothing stays hidden for very long. The more she hides, the more he wants to tear those secrets out into the light. It's late at night, but Alexis is heading out. Ratis watches from above, wondering where she's going at an hour like this. The attendant claims she's just taking a walk around the Marquis' estate. A walk? All by herself? The man offers to follow, but Ratis shuts it down. Following her now would look like spying. Besides, she isn't a child. She knows exactly what she's doing. Ratis lets her go, but he isn't buying it. A walk, huh? He knows she's hiding something much bigger. The room is a mess, and Margaret is losing it. The jewelry boxes are empty. Everything of value is gone. That man took it again. Jade, the man of the house, is stealing from his own family to support a secret life. He has a second family. Margaret screams at the sky, wishing for lightning to strike. This family was doomed. From the very start, they have nothing left, not even their title. Yuri tries to help, but Margaret snaps. She grabs her daughter, her voice full of venom. If it weren't for you kids, she could have left this nightmare long ago. She's trapped here, and she blames them for every single second of it. Margaret has snapped. She throws a heavy object, screaming that Yuri has ruined her entire life. To her, this daughter is just a chain, tying her to a family she absolutely loathes. If she hadn't gotten pregnant, she would have left the moment she found out about her husband's affair. She'd be free right now. Yuri can only scream as her mother's hands lash out in pure rage. The house is falling apart, and the butler can only watch in total shock. But then, a voice breaks through the chaos. A guest has arrived. The name stops everything. Sir Felice Rothschild is at the door. In this house of secrets, a powerful player has just stepped inside. Margaret isn't done with the guilt trip. She tells Yuri to be a good daughter. After all, she sacrificed everything for her. But the rage vanishes the moment duty calls. She orders the house to prepare for the guest. The mess is hidden, and the mask is on. Downstairs, the atmosphere shifts completely. Margaret welcomes the man to their small estate. She sounds like a perfectly poised noble. Sir Rothschild takes her hand, greeting her as Madame Tilrod. The monster from upstairs is nowhere to be seen, but with a Rothschild here, the real games are only just beginning. Sir Rothschild drops a bomb. He asks Margaret if Alexis mentioned their little arrangement. Margaret is clueless. She hasn't heard a word. The daughter she despises has been busy making moves in secret. Rothschild explains the deal. Alexis came to him, begging for a spot for her brother, David. She wanted him in the Rothschild subjugation squad. He thinks it's touching. He assumes Alexis felt guilty about David failing to get into the academy. She wanted to give him a second chance. But this isn't school. This is the front lines. Being a direct squire means David won't be playing pretend anymore. He'll be deployed straight into the field. It's the fastest way to become a real knight, but it's also the most dangerous. A spot like this isn't given to beginners. Yet, for Alexis, Rothschild made an exception. The question is, what did she promise him in return? Sir Rothschild admits he couldn't say no. Alexis reminds him of his own older sister. He felt a personal need to look out for her. Margaret plays the part, calling Alexis a wonderful sister, but her mind is elsewhere. This is David's big break, his only chance to actually become someone. She still can't figure out what's gotten into Alexis. While the adults talk business, the dressing room is chaotic. The maids are in awe. The green dress is perfect. Nikki is doing the makeup, insisting on a look that fits Alexis best. Alexis just smiles, leaving it in her hands. The staff can't stop staring. How can one person be this pretty and this handsome at once? Alexis is lost in thought. She missed the prince's banquet, so the maids joke that heaven sent an angel to make up for it. But the peaceful moment doesn't last long. A shadow falls over her. Ratis is standing right behind her, and he's been watching the whole time. Alexis is out of her comfort zone. She asks Ratis if the dress looks weird on her. He doesn't hesitate. A simple no is all he says. As he reaches for a jewelry box, he leans in close, fastening a necklace around her neck. The warrior is gone, replaced by a woman who's completely frozen. Ratis doesn't stop there. He tells her she is truly beautiful. It's a rare moment of total sincerity from a man who's usually so cold. But the romance is quickly followed by business. He hands her a black envelope. Whatever is inside is the real reason he's here tonight. The question is she ready for what it says? Alexis looks at the black envelope. She asks Ratis, what's inside? It's not a threat. It's play tickets. Ratis tells her it would be a shame to waste this look by staying home. He wants to take her to see a show. Alexis can only repeat the words, a play. The invitation hits her hard. It brings back a flood of memories about her brother, David, back when she was fighting monsters under David's name. He was living a different life. He would tell her about the magic of the stage, about fairies falling from the sky. While she was covered in blood, he was sneaking out in disguises just to escape the house. He hated being trapped, and now Ratis is offering her the very escape her brother loved. Up until this moment, seeing a play was just a dream. I used to wonder if I'd ever get to go even once. Everything is different now. Ratis is living a completely new life compared to before. He breaks the silence, asking if I'm actually going with him. I don't even have to think. Yes, of course. The excitement is real. Our first official outing is finally starting. Everything seems perfect, but that feeling doesn't last long. Things started off well, but something is about to go wrong. Alexis stops dead. In front of her is a glowing gate. She asks Ratis if they're really using a portal just for a play. Ratis doesn't blink. He confirms they're heading to Duras, near the capital. Alexis is floored. The gate fee is insanely expensive. Even back when she led the Imperial Subjugation Squad, they couldn't use gates this freely. But Ratis just gestures to the shimmering light. He casually mentions, this gate belongs to his family. What a show-off. He's playing on a completely different level of wealth. Alexis tries to find the words for what's next. She starts to speak, but the real surprise is still waiting for her. Alexis finally admits it. This is her first time using a magic gate. She's heard the rumors about teleportation magic. Apparently, it causes terrible motion sickness. The fearless swordswoman is actually nervous. Ratis can't help himself. He actually bursts out laughing at her. It's not a cold smirk. It's a genuine laugh. Alexis tells him to hold on, but the mood has already shifted. Ratis looks at her with a soft smile. He reaches out his gloved hand. He's not letting her face this alone, but is she ready to take his hand and step through? He's making his move. Hold my hand, Ratis. It's a simple request with a massive meaning. She isn't pulling back. The choice is made. They're in this together now. But where is he actually taking her? His hand is warmer than she ever expected. That one touch changes everything. Then, shall we go? In a flash of light, the world shifts. They aren't just leaving the room, they're heading to Duras. But what's waiting for them in a city like that? One step through the gate, and the world opens up. It's her first time seeing the legendary Duras. This place is the heart of the empire's wealth, a dream city for anyone living in the south. But getting here is usually a nightmare. The forbidden zone cuts the world in half. You either pay for a gate or risk the monsters. They just took the easy way, but in a city of gold, nothing is ever truly free. Teleporting can be rough, but she's handling it better than expected. To her, this city was just a legend, a place people in the south only dream about. Then he drops a bombshell. You can come here anytime. We even have a townhouse. Just like that, the dream becomes a reality. She isn't waiting for a next time. They're going to see it all until they can't walk. He's the one with the power, but she's the one calling the shots now. He knows it's childish to show off like this, but some moments are just too good to keep to himself. The private walk is over. Now, they're stepping into the lion's den. The elite don't miss a beat. It's Marquis Lucelle. Count Brandt is quick to notice the change. It's been a while since they've met. Away from the office, the Marquis has grown, and he isn't alone. The spotlight is on them now, and the Count wants everyone to see exactly who just arrived. Socializing isn't exactly her strong suit, but in this room, silence isn't an option. The Count wants to know exactly who she is. Lucelle doesn't hesitate. This is Miss Ratis, of the Tilrod family. That name hits the room like a physical weight. The Tilrods aren't just nobles, they're the bloodline of the Empire's founders. And Lucelle's family, the Russells, they're the other half of that legendary history. Seeing them side by side isn't just a social debut, it's the return of the founding families. The game just changed, and everyone is watching. The Count isn't just making small talk, he wants to know what this pairing means. Lucelle lets the silence hang for a second. It's a power move. We're just here to watch a play, just like everyone else. It's the perfect answer. Simple, polite, and completely uninformative. But as they walk away, the room doesn't go quiet. The elite see right through the act. Nobody believes this is just an ordinary outing, not with a Marquis, and certainly not with a Tilrod. The play hasn't even started, but they're already the main event. The doors are closed. There's no turning back now. The whispers are already spiraling out of control. Could the cold Marquis finally have a lover? That one word changes everything in this room. It's not just gossip, it's a social earthquake. And for some people, this isn't just news, it's a shock they never saw coming. The target is locked, and the real drama is just getting started. They finally have a moment away from the prying eyes, but Ratis is already having a minor crisis. She just realized the play is based on a famous novel. She hates being unprepared. If she'd known, she would've studied the book for weeks. Lucelle doesn't get the panic. To him, the plot of the play is the least interesting thing in this room. But Ratis isn't giving up. If she can't read the book, she'll memorize the pamphlet. She even tries to get the Marquis involved. He doesn't reach for the paper. Instead, he gives her a much better option. If she wants him to know, she can just read it to him. The play hasn't even started, but he's already found his favorite storyteller. Lucelle's request catches her off guard. He's not looking at the stage at all. He's looking at her. Ratis decides to play along. After all, he's the one who got them these seats. She opens the program and starts the tale. It's a story about a girl named Angela, a girl born with the power of flames. To the villagers, she wasn't a hero, she was a witch, to be feared. But then, a prince enters the picture. He sees something in her that no one else can. The parallels are getting a little too close for comfort. Is she reading a play, or is she reading her own future? The team is assembled, a powerful knight and a wise sage. They're all searching for the same girl, and just like that, the adventure begins. But as the journey goes on, the plot starts to thicken. The prince and Angela are falling for each other. It's the perfect fairy tale, except for one person. The loyal knight Verno is forced to watch from the shadows. He's carrying a secret that could ruin everything. He loves her too, but he'll never say a word. The play is just starting, but the heartbreak is already set in stone. Just when things were getting good, a new player enters the stage. Meet Lamia. She's been making Angela's life a living hell since day one, but the reason why is the real kicker. She isn't just some random rival. She's the prince's actual fiancée. Ratis can't believe what she's reading. The charming prince already had a woman waiting at home. She doesn't even care who hears her anymore. To her, this prince is officially the worst. Lucelle is just watching the show behind the show. He doesn't get the drama, but he's definitely enjoying the view. Ratis is officially done with this prince. If he's got a fiancée, he needs to stay away. Lucelle just shrugs it off. In his world, heroes don't play by the rules, but Ratis isn't having it. The prince isn't the hero, Angela is. She's rooting for the underdog knight now. Verno is the only one who deserves a win. As for the prince, he deserves a beatdown. Lucelle watches her fire. With a dangerous smirk, he wonders out loud, who could ever handle a woman like her? Ratis doesn't miss a beat. He doesn't need to worry about her future. But the way he's looking at her now, it seems like he's already making plans. The lights go down, and the stage comes alive. There he is. Armano looks like he stepped straight out of a legend. He's not just a teacher. In this moment, he's the center of the entire world. Alexis is completely swept up in the magic. It's easy to get lost when the story feels this real, but while everyone else is watching the stage, Lucelle is watching something else entirely. That look on his face says this isn't just a night at the theater. The play has started, but the real game is happening right here, in the dark. The stage is set, but the real critics are already unimpressed. This play is vulgar. Imagine basing a story on a cheap romance novel. Olivier doesn't even look up. It might get some attention, but it'll be forgotten by tomorrow morning. They think they're above the drama everyone else craves. But in this world, the stories you ignore are usually the ones that end up changing everything. Meet the Empress, Adrienne Arpend. She's looking for a confession. Don't you agree, Olivier? Olivier plays along perfectly. Her Majesty is correct. He acts like the play is beneath him. How cute. She sees the reflection of a total liar. She knows he's already seen this play twice. Even that trashy novel it's based on? He never misses a single chapter. The prince has a secret, and the Empress is holding all the cards. This is the truth behind the Silver Prince. Olivier was born to a fallen empress. He lost his mother the moment he arrived. Then his father, the emperor himself, cast him aside. All because he lost the one thing the emperor valued, his beauty. The world waited for a fierce rival to challenge the throne, a threat to the empress and her son. But they were wrong. Olivier didn't grow up to be a king. He became a hollow doll, just a broken child, starving for the love he was never given. Now he's playing a game where the stakes are higher than he knows. The empress is convinced she has him tamed. He won't even frown when she mocks the things he loves. To her, he's just a doll, obedient, endearing, and completely harmless. But she's forgotten who stands behind him. The family of the deposed Empress Chartine, the Pelletier house, the wealthiest and most powerful bloodline in the entire empire. Olivier might be living as if he's already dead, but a prince with that much gold never walks alone. He still has plenty of supporters waiting in the shadows. The doll is starting to look a lot like a threat. The empress has a goal. Her son Charles must take the throne without any competition. That means Olivier has to be dealt with, not just removed. His spirit needs to be completely crushed. She isn't worried about him fighting back. Even if he shows his hidden fangs, it won't matter. She already has a secret weapon in place, something that makes him no threat at all. As she watches the stage, the pieces are moving. This play is more than just entertainment. It's the beginning of the end for the Silver Prince. But what exactly is she hiding? The silent doll just found his voice. Olivier is done playing the part of the obedient prince. He stands up to leave the empress sitting in her own trap. He can see she finally understands the message in the play. He doesn't call her mother. He calls her Empress Adrienne, a cold reminder of where they stand. But he isn't finished. He leans in with a final warning. Everything she's seen is just the beginning. This is merely the prologue. The real show is about to start, and the empress isn't ready for the ending. The noise of the crowd fades into nothing. Oliver's cold gaze finally softens. For just one person, he isn't looking at the empress anymore. He's looking at the woman who just changed the entire game. The realization hits like a bolt of lightning. That person on stage, the one with the flaming red hair. It's her, the one he's been searching for, the one who holds the key to everything. Now that he's found her, the real story can finally begin. She's impossible to miss. That blazing red hair captures every eye. The moment she enters, Olivier remembers it all. The night they met, at his 19th birthday, a banquet that changed everything for him. But he isn't the only one. With his eyes locked on her, high above the stage, in the dark corners of the theater, someone else is watching. Ratis is lurking in the shadows. He looks like a predator who just found his favorite prey. The prince has his memories, but the Marquis has his own plans. Alexis is no longer just an actress. She's the prize in a very dangerous game, and the hunt has officially begun. The shadows are moving. Ratis doesn't just watch, he hunts for the truth, and he just found it right next to him. He corners the prince with a sharp smile. So this is the girl. This is the taste of the Ice Prince? Ratis sees the strings. He knows Alexis being here isn't some lucky accident. It was a trap, a masterpiece of a plan. It was all by Oliver's design. The prince stays silent. His perfect mask is finally cracking. He didn't think anyone would notice. How did Ratis see through it all? The game just got a lot more crowded, and Ratis isn't planning on being a spectator. The memory is bitter. Lady Margaret enters with her 2 daughters, but they aren't here to support each other. They're here to watch one girl drown. Look at her, the rough hair, the laughable dress. She stands there like a broken doll in a room full of gold. It's her first time in a place like this, and the moment she steps inside, the vultures start circling. Even her own family turns their backs. They leave her standing all alone under the cold lights. The whispers are sharp, the laughter is hidden behind expensive fans. Everyone is enjoying the spectacle of her shame. But from the balcony, Olivier sees everything. He isn't laughing, he's watching a girl with nowhere to run, and he's realizing that in this room, she's the only one who's actually real. It was painful, wasn't it? The truth is, you wanted to cry, but you couldn't. In this world, the moment you show a single crack, they'll tear you apart. Olivier knows that weight. He sees her face, struggling so hard just to stand alone against the vultures. He knows that look better than anyone, because he's been wearing that same mask his entire life. But while the prince is lost in the past, Ratis is moving in the present. The Marquis doesn't care about her hidden pain. He steps into her space with a sharp smile and a heavy hand. He's claiming her right in front of the entire world. The prince understands her, but the Marquis is the one holding her now. The show is over, at least for her. The empress has seen more than enough. This is too vulgar to keep watching. She cuts the tension with a cold command. The play is finished. She's heading to the lounge. She tells her people to get everything ready. They're leaving this place behind them. Yes, your majesty. The silver-haired man bows to her will, but his mind is somewhere else entirely. So it was about the play all along. He stands there alone as she walks away. The empress is gone, but the questions remain. What did she really see in that performance? And why does it feel like the real drama is only just beginning? The prince is done watching from the shadows. He calls for Joel. It's time to move. Bring me a pen and some paper. He's going to write a short letter. The silent observer is finally reaching out. But while he's being serious and calculated, Alexis is a total mess. Was it really that sad? Ratis can't believe what he's seeing. He's looking at a girl who just lost her mind over a fictional ending. That final song, where Bruno sings, it absolutely broke her. She's not just crying, she's a walking disaster of raw emotion. Ratis stands there, completely out of his depth. He's used to masks and hidden agendas. He doesn't know what to do with someone this real. The prince is writing, the Marquis is confused, and Alexis? She's just trying to survive the heartbreak of a story. The betrayal is complete. Angela falls into despair as the black flames turn her into stone. But then Bruno appears. He holds her cold body and sings a song filled with true love, a desperate plea to bring her back. It works. His sincerity wakes her. The sage gives his blessing, and the curtain falls on a perfect ending. But the play leaves one final warning: don't get too comfortable, because the darkness will always return. Alexis is still shaken. She holds her handkerchief tight and looks at Ratis. I'll never forget this for the rest of my life. She thinks she's talking about a theater performance, but in this room, the real play is just getting started. Ratis leans in close. Was it really that good? He's invading her space with a dangerous smile. He says he's satisfied too, but Alexis is lost. She has no idea what he's talking about. Then he reaches inside. The charm disappears, replaced by something cold. He pulls out a letter. Because the third prince sent you a love letter. The romantic tension dies in an instant. He wasn't just watching her. He was waiting for the perfect moment to drop this bomb. Now the real question is, how did Ratis get it? And what does he expect her to do now? Olivier was actually here just a second ago, but now he's gone, leaving only this letter. A note from the prince? He wants Alexis to smile at him next time. Ratis seems way too happy about this whole situation. He calls it a success because Alexis is so unique. He keeps going on about her special charm, catching the prince's eye, but something feels off. Alexis finally sees the truth. Ratis didn't bring her here for a nice night out. He used her as bait. Did he really set this entire thing up just for this? Alexis is absolutely losing it. She's squeezing Ratis's hand so hard he's actually begging for mercy. She's screaming at him, for keeping her in the dark. A heads up would have been nice before using her as bait. Ratis is totally folded. He's apologizing and promising to do better next time, just to get his finger back. But look at the crowd. The noble ladies are whispering. They think these two are way too close. This isn't how just friends act in public. Alexis doesn't care. She storms off in a rage, but then it hits her. If the prince was here the whole time, that means he saw everything. He saw her crying. He saw her laughing. He saw her making this massive scene. Is this the unique charm Ratis was talking about? Because right now, she just wants to disappear. Alexis is spiraling. If she knew the prince was watching her, she never would have acted like such a mess. She's totally convinced. Her reputation is ruined. What is she even supposed to do now? Meanwhile, Ratis is still standing there, staring at his own hand. He's actually shocked. How is she this strong? Alexis doesn't skip a beat. She tells him straight up, if she were actually serious, that finger wouldn't even be attached to his hand. She storms off, leaving him in the dust. But look at Ratis. He isn't even mad. He's watching her walk away, with this smirk on his face. He didn't just find bait, he found someone dangerous. Ratis is actually laughing. He's standing there, completely losing it, clenching his fist in triumph. Why is he this hyped? Because for years, he's been trying everything to get close to Prince Olivier. He showed up at the palace, day after day. He sent the most expensive gifts in the world. He even spent a fortune hosting the prince's birthday, and every single time, he got nothing, just cold silence and total rejection. The prince wouldn't even look his way. But now, everything has changed. Alexis just did in one night what Ratis couldn't do in 3 whole years. He's watching her leave with a completely different look. She isn't just a partner anymore. She's the golden key to everything he wants. Ratis is playing a dangerous game of chess. He knows exactly who the next emperor should be. It's the third prince, Olivier. The other options? They're a total disaster. The first prince, Charles, is way too weak. He's timid, small-minded, and easily controlled. If he takes the throne, the empress will be the one pulling the strings. Her family would snatch every bit of power, and the empire would fall. Even the emperor knows it. That's why he's stalling on naming an heir. Then there's the second prince. People actually love Gabriel. He's kind and merciful, but he has one massive problem. His mother was a commoner. In this world, that's a dead end. So that leaves Olivier. Right now, he's nobody. He's overshadowed and ignored by everyone at court. But Ratis sees the truth. If this man gets just one real chance, he'll change everything. Olivier was born for this. He has the qualities of a true emperor, more than anyone else. And it's not just talent. His mother came from the wealthiest family in the entire empire. If he ever gets a real opening, the money and power will flood in instantly. But right now, he's playing it smart. He's keeping up this mild-mannered act just to stay safe. He wants the empress to think he's harmless. He wants everyone to believe he has zero interest in taking the throne. But Ratis knows better. He's seen the look in the prince's eyes. That isn't the face of a man who's satisfied with hiding. The mask is perfect, but the man underneath? He's just waiting for the right moment to strike. Ratis is playing the long game. If he locks in this connection with Olivier now, the prince will have nowhere else to turn. When the time comes, and Olivier needs real power, he'll have to come crawling to House Russell. After all, they already rule the entire south. But being a Marquis isn't enough for Ratis. He's looking at a much bigger prize. If he plays his cards right and gives the prince everything he needs, the reward will be massive. House Russell will finally leave the lower ranks behind. They won't just be another noble family. They will become the Duchy of Russell. The mere thought of it has him laughing out loud. He's standing there, surrounded by his own burning ambition. Alexis is just watching him from the carriage. She can see the change in his eyes. He isn't just a nobleman anymore. He's a man who will burn the world just to wear a crown. Ratis is in a surprisingly good mood. He's humming to himself as he hunts for Alexis. He heard from Alan that she was in here, but when he bursts through the doors, he stops dead. He wasn't expecting this. Alexis is right there, but she's not alone. She's surrounded by maids, all huddled together, like they're sharing some big secret. The second they see him, the room turns into chaos. The maids scramble to get out of his way, tripping over themselves to leave the room. Ratis is left standing there, feeling like he just ruined the party. He asks if he interrupted something. Alexis doesn't seem bothered at all. She just holds up a book. It's the original novel of that play she loved. Apparently, she told the maids the story, and now the whole house is obsessed with it. One of the maids even brought the entire book set so they could all read it together. Ratis can't believe it. she still hasn't moved on from that play. She's actually turned his mansion into a fan club. He tries to act like he doesn't care what she does with the staff in her free time is her business, but the playfulness is over now. He didn't come here to talk about books. He has something much more serious on his mind. Ratis is actually trying to apologize. He admits he was a bit too pushy during their last outing. As a peace offering, he wants to give his stepping stone lady a special gift. He's even letting her pick whatever she wants. Alexis is surprised. Maybe he actually has a conscience. After all, she tries to play it down, saying it was no big deal, but Ratis won't hear any of it. He spent so much effort trying to impress the prince and got absolutely nowhere. Then Alexis walks in and captures the prince's interest instantly. To Ratis, that success deserves a massive reward. He tells her to really think about it. Later, Alexis is back in her room, just staring at a tiny teaspoon. She's thinking about her own power. With her skills, she could probably conquer a forest full of monsters, using nothing but this little spoon. But then, reality hits. There's a loud snap. The spoon just breaks right in half. She's standing there, staring at the broken metal in shock. She forgot her own strength again. How is she supposed to act like a delicate lady when she can't even finish her tea? Alexis has a problem. If she's going to start her mana training, she can't keep using teaspoons and books. She needs a real weapon. Ratis is still trying to be the generous host. He's listing off everything a noble lady is supposed to want. A new dress? Some expensive jewelry? Maybe some rare delicacies? He's ready to buy her the whole world. But Alexis doesn't want any of it. She looks him straight in the face and gives him one simple answer. A sword. Ratis is completely caught off guard. He's offering diamonds, and she's asking for cold steel. She makes it crystal clear. Keep the dresses, keep the jewels. I want a sword. Now the ball is in his court. Will he give a dangerous woman the one thing she actually knows how to use? Captain Lux is hitting a breaking point. The Marquis wants his squad to patrol the entire frontier, plus the home territory. It is an impossible task for one team, but Marcel is just delivering the news. The Marquis already gave the order. Lux is desperate for more men. He should have hired more people back in the summer, but there is a reason the ranks are so thin. Arden snatched up every single recruit for the Black Lion Knights. Now Lux is stuck with a massive job, and nobody to help him do it. Lux is busy making excuses. He thinks the new generation is too soft for monster hunting. To him, the frontier mission is simply impossible. But he forgot one major thing. The Marquis is standing right behind him. Ratis heard every single word. The room goes dead silent. The word impossible just became a death sentence. Lux has to pivot fast. He claims he was just starting a poem, anything to keep his head on his shoulders. Lux actually pulls it off. He turns his mistake into a vow of loyalty. He promises to conquer the frontier without a single error. Ratis isn't impressed. He just tells him to get back to work. Lux scurries away, knowing he can't win an argument with the Marquis. But the manpower problem is still very real. Ratis has a simple solution. If the squad is too small, the knights will take their place. Marcel tries to remind him about winter training. The knights are supposed to be drilling, not patrolling, but Ratis doesn't care about schedules. To him, protecting the land is the only training that matters. The knights are about to have a very long winter. The orders are officially moving. Ratis tells Marcel to send them out immediately. Marcel knows this is exactly what Lux wanted. The manpower crisis is finally solved, but the Marquis isn't done yet. He stops writing. There is something bothering him, something that has nothing to do with politics or war. He asks Marcel about a book, a novel called The Night Angela. He wants to know if it is actually famous. The most powerful man in the territory is suddenly interested in fiction. Marcel is caught off guard. Why would a cold-blooded Marquis care about a popular story? Unless he is trying to understand someone else. Marcel can't believe the Marquis is asking about this. He confirms it's the famous work by Master Armano. It's not just a book. It's been a massive trend for the last few years. Ratis doesn't get the hype. He thinks it's just a story, on paper, but Marcel is quick to correct him. The town library only has one single set, and the shelves are always empty. People literally line up at the door. They wait for the exact moment a copy is returned. If Ratis wants to read it, he's going to have to wait his turn, or find another way to get his hands on a copy. Ratis starts putting the pieces together. He remembers how many people flocked to see the play version too, but then he recalls a specific moment with Alexis. She didn't ask for jewelry or dresses. She asked for a sword, and not just any blade. She wanted mana-reinforced steel with a simple hilt. Ratis is stunned. He can't believe a romance novel would go into that much detail. Is that really where she got this from? Alexis sees his reaction and immediately starts backtracking. She knows mana-reinforced steel is incredibly expensive. She tries to laugh it off. She says a small sword is perfectly fine too, but the damage is done. Ratis is starting to realize that Alexis isn't just reading for fun. She's looking for something much more dangerous. Ratis decides to give in. He tells Alexis he understands. She's getting her mana-reinforced sword. It's definitely not the traditional gift he had planned, but he's the one who told her to choose. Alexis can't believe he's actually serious. She clutches her book and beams. This is more than just a weapon to her. Back in the present, Marcel explains the bigger picture. It's not just Alexis. Thanks to that one novel, teenage girls everywhere are dropping everything. They all want to be knights. It's becoming a total disaster for their families. Everyone is scrambling to stop them, but the fire is already lit. Ratis realizes he just handed a real weapon to someone who is clearly inspired by a revolution. The trend is hitting closer to home than Ratis expected. Marcel reports that their own black knights are seeing way more female applicants lately. Ratis can't help but think of Alexis. He asks Marcel if they have a mana-reinforced sword just sitting in the armory. Marcel looks at him like he's lost his mind. Those blades aren't just sitting around. They're incredibly rare and expensive. Only a handful of master craftsmen can even make them. They're reserved for elite magic swordsmen, not just anyone. Marcel gets curious. He asks if Ratis is finally starting to feel mana himself. Is that why he's asking? Ratis shuts him down immediately. It's not for him, but he doesn't explain why he's hunting for a weapon that's nearly impossible to find. He's going to extreme lengths for a girl who just wants to play knight. Marcel doesn't hold back at all. He tells Ratis straight to his face, a mana sword is useless to someone who can't use magic. Giving him a blade like that would be like throwing pearls before swine. Ratis has heard enough. He snaps and orders Marcel back to work. Once he's alone, Ratis starts weighing his options. He wonders if he should just grab any old sword from the armory, but he stops himself. No, that's not good enough. He needs to treat Alexis with the absolute best. He's not being generous. He's being calculating. If he gives her everything she wants, she'll be deeply in his debt. He's looking at the bigger picture. When things finally go well between Ratis and the prince, he needs Alexis on his side. She's his ticket to the top, and he'll pay any price to make sure he wins that favor. Since the armory was a bust, Ratis has only one option left. He's taking Alexis to that place. They head deep into the shadows. Alexis realizes exactly where they are. This is the path to the night market. She's hesitant. Does a sword really require coming to a place like this? Ratis doesn't blink. He wants her to pick the blade herself. He's not just giving her a random weapon, but there's a catch. This isn't the day market. It's a lawless, dangerous zone. He tells her to stay close and not to wander off. Alexis goes quiet. She's spent her life fighting monsters, but she's never had to deal with people like the ones hiding in these alleys. She's about to find out that humans can be way more unpredictable than any beast. Ratis knows exactly what he's doing. He sees Alexis hesitating and decides to make his move. He reaches out and takes her hand firmly. He tells her, that if she's feeling scared, he's happy to hold on again. It's a bold offer for someone who usually keeps his distance. He's acting like the perfect protector. In a place this dark, Alexis is completely caught off guard. She doesn't pull away, but she can't find the words to answer him either. Ratis is playing a dangerous game. He's turning a simple trip to the market into something much more personal. Now she has to decide, is he actually worried about her, or is this just another way to keep her under his thumb? Alexis reaches out and hands Ratis the basket. She noticed this once before, but it's even clearer now. The Marquis's hands are incredibly large and warm. It's nothing like the cold first impression he gave. For a second, the tension feels different, but then Ratis looks down. He realizes he's holding a heavy lunchbox. He stops dead in his tracks. He can't believe his eyes. Who brings a lunchbox to a dangerous black market? The romantic mood is officially dead. Ratis is just wondering how naive this girl can actually be. She's treating a lawless zone like a Sunday picnic, and now he's the one stuck carrying the snacks. Alexis tries to defend herself. She argues that, even at night, this place is still within the city limits. She's genuinely confused. Is this market actually dangerous, or was Ratis just exaggerating? But Ratis is already moving on to a much more important topic. He wants to know how he's doing so far. He's talking about his manners, holding her hand, carrying her bags. He jokes that, if he were in her shoes, he'd already be falling for himself. He even gives her a warning. She's not allowed to actually fall in love with him. Obviously, Alexis can't help it anymore. The sheer ego on this man is enough to make her laugh. The cold atmosphere is completely gone, but as they walk, she notices something else. Ratis is smiling, a real, genuine smile, and she wants to know exactly what he's so happy about. Ratis is trying to play it cool. He insists he isn't smiling, but Alexis knows what she saw. She calls him out on it, but he just doubles down. He's a hard man to read. Alexis realizes he's a truly peculiar person. 1 second he's teasing her, the next he's stone-faced again. But the games have to stop. They've reached the entrance. The guards check their identities and wave them through. The doors open to a completely different world. Now they're on the inside. Everyone is wearing a mask. It's an anonymous auction, and the room is filled with suspicious characters. Alexis can feel the shift. This place isn't safe at all. One wrong move in a room full of strangers, and they might not make it out tonight. The auction is underway, but Ratis has other priorities. He's suddenly thirsty and starts eyeing the basket. He asks Alexis to pass the wine, making himself right at home in the middle of a crime den, but he doesn't stop at drinks. Now he's asking for a sandwich. Apparently, he was too busy working to even eat. He explains that his adjutant, Marcel, finally tracked down the auction schedule, and the timing couldn't be worse. Ratis claims he had to rush through his mountain of paperwork just to make it. He leans in close to Alexis. He wants her to know that all this effort was for her. Alexis can only give a polite thank you. She's starting to realize that the Marquis is a lot more dramatic than he looks. He's turned a dangerous mission into his own personal dinner theater, and he's waiting for her to be impressed. Ratis brushes off her gratitude like it's nothing, but Alexis is feeling generous. She tells him she'll do whatever he wants, anything at all. She can't help but think about how much he's changed in her eyes. Even if he's gaining something, this isn't the man she first met. But the heart-to-heart is cut short. The crowd is finally gathered. The auction is officially starting. Alexis tries to focus while finishing her sandwich, but the prices are absolutely insane. A single sauce bowl just sold for 20 million. 20 million. She'll never understand how rich people spend their money. It's a different world in here. But the small stuff is over. The auctioneer's voice drops an octave. This is it. The one item everyone in this room has been waiting for. The real reason they're all here is finally about to be revealed. The lights hit the stage. This is the moment of truth. Alexis sees it, and her heart nearly stops. That's it. This is the entire reason she cleared her schedule. The reason she dragged Ratis here and skipped dinner. Everything they've done tonight was for this one object. Ratis watches closely. He knows how much is at stake right now. The auctioneer gestures toward the case. Inside sits a blade unlike any they've seen before. It's the legendary sword with two faces. Everyone has heard the stories, but seeing it in person is different. The real battle hasn't even started yet, because in this room, everyone is willing to kill to own it. The auctioneer starts telling a story that sounds like a myth. He calls it the sword with two faces. One side was made by a god to save the entire world, but the other side is pure evil, power so massive it literally ended an entire era. The imperial family spent years pretending it didn't exist, just because they couldn't find it. But now, it's right here. The legendary blade, once wielded by Alexis Tilrod herself. It's PHYR, the sword of flames. Alexis can't even move. She's staring at her own past, sitting on a velvet cushion. Her most powerful weapon is being sold like a piece of jewelry, and the bidding is about to get bloody. A legend so old, the imperial family denied it even existed. The blade once wielded by Alexis Tilrod is finally back. The sword of flames, the legendary fire. For years, the world was full of fakes, nothing but cheap imitations. But the real deal just showed up, right in front of her. The legendary weapon has finally returned. But who brought it here? The bidding starts at 100 million, a massive price tag. But Ratis isn't here to play fair. He doesn't even hesitate. 1 billion Lupin. He just multiplied the opening bid by 10. The entire room goes dead silent. Nobody expected a move this aggressive, this early. He's not just bidding, he's making sure nobody else even tries. Ratis thinks he's being the ultimate gentleman. He knows the price is absolutely insane, but he tells Alexis it's all for her. He's trying to buy her favor with a billion-dollar gesture. But Alexis is looking at that blade with different eyes. That sword, she wants it back. To everyone else, it looks like a piece of junk, just a rusted old relic from the past. But she knows exactly what it's worth. She's not even thinking about his grand offer. She's just wondering if she has enough pocket money to buy it herself. Ratis can't believe what he's hearing. He just offered her a legendary treasure, but Alexis is choosing a piece of junk instead. She tells him the expensive blade is just too much. She's perfectly happy with the cheap option. Ratis is completely lost. He's trying to be the big spender, the hero of the night. But while he's busy trying to impress her, someone else is watching. A pair of eyes from the shadows. They see right through his billion-dollar bid. To them, Ratis is just a reckless brat with too much money, a greenhorn who doesn't know when to be afraid. The real players have finally arrived. Ratis spots him on the balcony. He whispers the name like it's a warning. Brance Roderick. Alexis knows that name all too well. He's the head of one of the most powerful families in the South. But there's a deeper connection here. This man is the father of Robert, the same Robert who led the squad Alexis used to serve. The past is starting to catch up with her. In the middle of this auction, and seeing him here changes everything. Alexis remembers the stories now. The Rodericks and the Russells have hated each other for generations. It's a blood feud that goes back to the beginning. Brance has always despised the Russells. He couldn't stand seeing a younger man take the title of patriarch, and now he's taking that anger out on Ratis. He calls out from the balcony with a sharp tongue. He claims he only wanted to admire a fine blade, but now he's mocking Ratis for robbing him of that simple pleasure. He doesn't stop there. He insults their entire family tree, calling them pathetic for having no real history. He's laughing in front of everyone, turning a simple auction into a public execution of the Russell name. Ratis just became the target of a very dangerous man. Brance isn't backing down. He wants to teach Ratis a lesson about power and its limits. He raises the stakes to 1.1 billion. The room goes quiet. Then the whispers start. Brance's public insult just did the unthinkable. He basically told the entire crowd who Ratis really is. The secret is out. Now this isn't just about a sword. It's an all-out war between two houses, a battle of pride with no easy exit. But even with the world watching. Ratis only cares about one thing. He looks at Alexis and asks her again, is she absolutely sure she doesn't want that sword? He's ready to burn a fortune for her, but the price of winning this fight might be higher than he thinks. Alexis gives the word, she's fine without it. Ratis leans in close. He whispers something only she can hear. Then he just sits back, completely relaxed. The hammer drops. Sold for 1.1 billion. Brance stands there, in total disbelief. He can't believe Ratis just gave up, but that was the plan all along. Ratis looks up with a smug grin. He tells Brance, if he doesn't want it, then Ratis definitely doesn't need it. He almost blew a massive fortune for absolutely nothing. Ratis didn't lose the auction. He just tricked his biggest enemy into bankrupting himself for a trophy he didn't even want. The look on Brance's face is worth more than any sword. The auction moves on to the next item, but Alexis is still processing what happened. She wonders if this is really okay. Ratis doesn't seem worried at all. He's actually humming. As they walk away, he brings up the sword. He says that thing looked like a hunk of rusted junk anyway. He's glad he didn't waste his money. Alexis agrees. The one she has is more than enough. Ratis can't help but laugh. He's genuinely impressed by her attitude. But their little victory is cut short. A voice calls out from behind them. It's Brance, and he is livid. He demands to know if this was all just another scheme to screw him over. He's not letting them walk away that easily. Brance is convinced he's been spied on. He demands to know how Ratis found out he wanted that sword. He thinks this was some elaborate setup, but Ratis just smiles. He asks Brance what on earth he's babbling about. He swears on his title that he never once looked into Brance's business. Brance loses it. He calls Ratis a barefaced liar. There's no way someone bids $1 billion without trying to screw over their rival. But Ratis's response is even colder. He tells Brance that assuming he was even worth noticing is a bit too arrogant. He wasn't playing a game, he just didn't care. Brance is left standing there with a useless sword and a shattered ego. He realized too late that he wasn't the target. He was just a footnote. Brance has finally lost his mind. He tells Ratis to mark his words. The people of the South will never accept him as a true Marquis. He vows to uncover the sickening truth of what happened on that dark day, the day everyone in the Marquis's house ended up dead, the day Ratis suddenly took the seat of the patriarch. It's a heavy accusation, a massacre for a throne, but Ratis doesn't even flinch. He looks Brance dead in the eye. He asks if Brance is really admitting to the whole world that he's been harboring a grudge, a pathetic complex, against someone who was barely 10 years old at the time. Ratis isn't the one who should be ashamed. Brance is just a grown man, scared of a ghost. Ratis decides to twist the knife. He tells Brance to go run along. He should show off that $1 billion sword to his entire family, especially the ones who couldn't produce a single hero. Brance can barely contain his rage, but he has bigger problems now. His servants remind him it's time to pay up. He has to face the massive bill for a prize he didn't even want. He swears to God he'll never forget this humiliation. But while Ratis enjoys the win, Alexis is elsewhere. The talk of family brings back a memory she tried to bury the moment her father saw her talent with a blade. He didn't feel pride. He saw an illegitimate child who was too good to be ignored, so he banished her. He couldn't handle the thought of actually acknowledging her. The victory today feels a lot heavier than she expected. Brance Roderick. Alexis repeats the name like a vow. She needs to carve that name into her memory. He's officially on her list now. But as she watches Ratis, the tension shifts. He looks completely unbothered by the threats he just heard. He leans in close and breaks the silence. He asks if she's ready to go pick up their newly bought sword, the one that cost 110,000 lupin. He says it with a smile, as if they didn't just start a war. Alexis reaches out and catches his sleeve. The auction is over, but the real trouble is just beginning. Alexis isn't letting Ratis have all the fun today. She starts digging through her cloak and pulls out her own wallet. Ratis can't believe what he's seeing. He's the Marquis with the endless bank account, but Alexis is dead serious. She tells him this is a gift from her to him. Since it's expensive, she's the one footing the bill. Ratis tries to stop her immediately. He tells her to keep that wallet tucked far away, but she's already on a mission. She even complains that she wanted to buy him something way pricier. She tells him to stay put while she goes to handle the payment. Ratis is left standing there, completely stunned. He can only tell her to take her time. The legendary swordswoman just became his biggest benefactor, and she's clearly enjoying every second of his confusion. The night market is officially closing. An official tells Alexis to come back for the next auction. She asks for a specific date, but he doesn't have an answer. It all depends on how much inventory they can pile up. But Alexis notices something else, a group of men loitering nearby. She wonders if they're just mercenaries trying to offload some cheap loot. The official isn't being subtle about his low opinion of them either. He calls out a man named Gorse. He tells him to stop bringing in total junk. He shouldn't come back until he actually has something valuable. Gorse, the name sticks in her mind. The official is ranting about some weird egg now. Apparently the novelty has worn off, and nobody is buying that crap. But Gorse is getting desperate. He begs the man to just look one more time. He swears this one is different. Alexis is watching very closely now. In a place like this, one man's junk is usually a hero's treasure. Gorse is still pleading his case from the shadows. He insists that what he's holding is truly special, but Alexis isn't listening to his sales pitch anymore. She's stuck on that name. If this really is Gorse, then she's standing next to a wanted criminal, a man linked to the King Snake mercenary coup. This isn't just some desperate merchant looking for a quick payday. This is a man who should be running for his life. Alexis watches him from the corner of her eye. The mystery of the weird egg just got a whole lot darker. A secret deal is going down. Someone is offering up a very special item. Gorse, that name changes everything. It can't be him, the wanted criminal from the Serpent Corps? If that's true, this isn't just a trade, it's a trap. Gorse is a monster. He lures beasts into helpless villages, then charges a fortune to save them. He built a fortune on innocent lives, but there's a problem. In my memory, he doesn't get caught for several years. Is he already starting his crimes? The deal is moving. They want to see this special item now. The big reveal just hit a wall. Gorse showed up to a high-stakes deal with absolutely nothing. He claims the item is hidden away for safety reasons, but he still wants the cash upfront. The buyer isn't buying the story. He's done playing games. Gorse gets kicked out without a single coin, but he's not giving up. He's heading back to where he hid it. Gorse is furious. He thinks leaving the item behind was a huge mistake, but his partner is terrified of it. Whatever they found is pure evil. It's dangerous to even be near it. They're so busy arguing in the dark that they didn't hear the footsteps. Got you, you villain. The hunt is over. But what exactly is this ominous thing they're hiding? Alexis finally has him, but before she can finish the job, a familiar voice cuts through the air. Ratis steps in and plays it off like a family spat. He calls her a troublesome lady to confuse the target. It's a perfect cover. While Ratis apologizes, his men move in from the shadows. The criminals don't even have time to scream for help. They thought they were dealing with one girl. They were wrong. Ratis is playing the perfect noble. He thinks Alexis is just being reckless. He lectures her about public manners. You can't just call people villains in the street. But Alexis can't tell him the truth. She isn't guessing. She's seen the future. In a few years, that man will cause a massacre. Countless lives are on the line. Ratis hands her a small token, still thinking he's the one in control. He has no idea the war she's already fighting. Ratis hands it over like it's nothing. The very thing the criminals feared is now hers. He warns her that it's heavy, but then he cracks a joke that stops her cold. Label it quickly once we're home, otherwise someone might throw it away, thinking it's rubbish. Rubbish? This ominous thing could change everything. Ratis just laughs and walks away, leaving Alexis alone with the weight of the unknown. She can feel it. The dark energy is heavy and thick, ominous beyond measure. But then she actually looks at it, sitting there on the fancy chair. She did exactly what Ratis suggested. She labeled it. Now, seeing the words, "Not rubbish," taped to the hilt, the tension is gone. It's supposed to be a world-ending threat, but right now, it just looks like a pile of junk. This is no ordinary scrap of metal. It's a magic sword, a weapon that lives and grows with its master. It drinks in mana to become stronger. But there's a catch. If the energy is tainted, the blade begins to rot. It rusts from the inside. Alexis has seen this exact decay before. In her previous life, her own sword turned to iron like this. She was once consumed by that same darkness. And now, the irony is staring her right in the face. Even in her past, Alexis never saw a blade this far gone. The corruption is deep. What happened to this thing? She looks at the rust and the jagged edges. Scraping it off won't be enough. Maybe she should just grind it down. But this isn't a normal repair job. She needs a specialist. She decides to find the Knight Commander. She needs to borrow a very specific candle. But what does a light have to do with fixing a cursed blade? David is absolutely thrilled. The Black Lion Order is finally teaming up with the subjugation force. He's practically shouting about being in debt to the great Marquis. Ratis made it easy. He offered his knights to cover the patrols while the force was short-handed. David thinks it's a brilliant move. He's all praise for how thoughtful the Marquis is. But Ratis doesn't do casual favors. He's already talking about repaying the debt. David can't believe how cold he is. They're under one roof, yet Ratis treats it like a business deal. Robert thinks this year will be a quiet one. The monsters are barely moving. He's convinced there's nothing left to do. Alexis warns him not to be so careless. And she's right. A messenger bursts in with a frantic report. A village on the frontier has just been attacked. It's the classic curse. Work always finds you the second you say you're finally free. Ratis wants the details. How bad is the damage? Surprisingly, the village didn't ask for help. The monsters only hit some local farmland. But here's the twist. A group of mercenaries was already there. They handled the threat before the army could even move. Alexis is instantly alert. Mercenaries in the frontier? She needs to know exactly who they are. The messenger reveals the name. It's the King's Serpent Mercenary Corps. Alexis knows that name. It's not just a coincidence. If they handled it, isn't the matter settled? Alexis wants to be sure. The messenger agrees, but the timing is wrong. Monsters moving this early is a dark omen. They had to report it. Meanwhile, in the halls, Robert stops in his tracks. He feels a gaze on his back. His subordinate is confused. There's no one there, but Robert isn't convinced. He was sure someone was lurking in the shadows. Is the palace really as safe as they think? Back at the palace, the knights laugh it off. They think Robert is just seeing ghosts. But out on the frontier, the truth is much uglier. The King's Serpent mercenaries are counting their loot. It's a tidy sum. They know exactly how to play the game. Wait for the monsters to ruin the crops, then collect the gold from the terrified farmers. The villagers are so scared, they don't even think twice about paying. But the leader isn't celebrating the payday. He's been brooding ever since Alexis picked a fight with him. His men tell him to just let it go. She's a noble from House Russell, after all. They want to spend the money on drinks and forget her name. But he isn't just in a foul mood. This goes much deeper than a bruised ego. The mercenary leader is still haunted by her. In that moment, he was absolutely paralyzed. He thought she was just a noble woman. A girl in a dress shouldn't be this terrifying. But her presence was on a different level. She reminded him of the legendary spider. He can't understand why a girl like her would feel so dangerous. It's just rotten luck. He needs a drink to forget that face. He tells his men to head to the tavern. He thinks he's safe now that he's away, but he's dead wrong. Alexis is right there. She's watching from the shadows of the doorway, and she isn't finished with him just yet. Alexis was right. They really were villains. That tavern wasn't just a place for drinks, it was their base. She remembers Tez cursing their names. In her past life, they swindled the settlers out of everything. Now she's inside. She finds the items they were trying to sell. At first, it looks like simple cargo, but then she sees it, a massive, glowing object, hidden in the back. It's a monster egg. This changes everything. The mercenaries aren't just thieves and swindlers. They're dealing in something far more dangerous than gold. Alexis just found something incredibly dangerous. Hidden in this box is a monster egg. Footsteps echo nearby. The men outside are arguing about money. They have no idea who is waiting inside. The door swings open. The smugglers freeze. It's the woman from the auction. Alexis doesn't move. I have a few questions. Did anyone die because of your little scheme? Monster eggs only exist in the Forbidden Zone. How did trash like you manage to get there? This isn't just any monster egg. It's massive and glowing with a suspicious light. Alexis wants answers. Where did you get this thing? The smuggler isn't ready to talk. He thinks her name won't protect her here. Just drop the egg, and walk away, if you want to live. He makes a mistake. He reaches for her. In one motion, Alexis grabs his arm, and slams him, into the floor. The floorboards shatter. You should have started talking earlier. The man is screaming, about who he knows. Alexis doesn't care. Fine, let's start with a beating instead. In my previous life, the Imperial Subjugation Force was a total joke. It wasn't an elite unit, it was a dumping ground. They sent people there, just to watch them die. A killer who dueled the wrong nobleman, a smuggler caught red-handed, even a common thief. There was only one way to handle a group of criminals like that. The smuggler on the floor can barely speak. What are you doing? Beat them. That's how you open the door. Alexis raises her fist. If the door stays shut, you just keep knocking until it finally breaks. The beating worked. The smugglers are talking. They found a passage straight into the heart of the monster forest. They knew the risks. They saw the monsters come through the breach, but the money was just too good. Alexis looks at them. You have some nerve, using a forbidden zone as your personal bank. She knows how this story ends. Men like this never actually stop. They keep going until a bounty hunter finally cuts them down. And in the meantime, innocent people pay the price in blood. Maybe I should just end them now. The air turns cold. The smugglers can feel the shift in the room. They start screaming about never doing it again. Alexis rubs her temples. Killing them is easy, but they're more useful alive. I'll let you go, but there's a condition. Alexis isn't playing games. If you're lying, I will come for you. The smugglers are desperate. They swear it's the truth. They lead her deep into the dark woods. It started 10 years ago. The smugglers were hiding, looking for wild game, but they weren't alone. A massive group of people in armor marched down this path, an entire army, moving in secret. They left their horses at the edge of the trees, then they disappeared into that black hole, a cave hidden by the overgrowth. The smugglers waited. They thought the knights were hiding treasure, but the army never came back out. Well, almost all of them. Only 2 people ever returned from that darkness. Only 2 people walked out of that cave. A figure in black, carrying a small child. Alexis stops. A child? What happened to the rest? Gorsh shakes his head. Hundreds of soldiers simply never returned. The smugglers got curious and went inside. They found a tunnel carved deep into the earth, a straight shot to the forbidden zone. The smugglers think their job is done. They try to leave, but Alexis isn't letting them go. She draws her blade and pins Gorsh against the cold stone. You stole the egg. Now you're going back to put it back. The smugglers have no choice but to lead. As they walk, Alexis looks at the walls. This isn't a cave. It's a massive hallway, built with precision. A project this big required hundreds of workers. This wasn't a secret. It was an operation. The walls are too clean for a tunnel this old. The condition is perfect. It's like someone is still maintaining it. Alexis can't believe this route even existed. She's been in and out of the forbidden zone countless times, but she never saw this. She looks at the smugglers. Return the egg, and then turn yourselves in. It's just fraud right now. The sentence will be light. She even offers to find them real work once they're out. The smugglers just laugh. A noble lady, playing hero of justice? Why would you bother with trash like us? Hero of justice. Alexis doesn't like the title. I'm not doing this to be a good person. I'm not obsessed with doing the right thing. It's much simpler. I know innocent people are going to die for absolutely nothing, and I'm not the type to just sit back and watch it happen. She keeps moving. We're almost there. Alexis stops. The floor is covered in strange writing. It's the same script that lit up the gate. This isn't just a tunnel. It's a magical ruin, overflowing with ancient power. The smugglers are exhausted. They've been walking for half a day in total darkness. Alexis realizes the time. By now, everyone at the estate is probably panicking, searching every corner for their missing lady. She can't call this a simple walk anymore. Maybe it's time to stop hiding. Being a mana user isn't a crime. She could just say she learned swordsmanship while training with David. But then, she remembers the voices, the way people talk about things they don't understand, calling it disgusting, treating it like a poison that might spread. She looks down. What if the Marquis sees her the same way? What if he looks at her and sees something filthy? The thought of his rejection is scarier than any monster hiding in this cave. No more hiding. I'll go back and deal with the fallout later. Open. The massive gates groan as they part. A sliver of light cuts through the dark. Alexis steps through. The air changes instantly. It's damp, heavy with the smell of something rotting. This isn't a forest stroll. This is the heart of the forbidden zone. A voice cuts through the silence. Vice Captain, we can't find any trace of the inspection team. Alexis looks down. Something is very wrong. The ground is littered with silver armor. Swords snapped in half. Bodies left where they fell. Vice Captain, the shouting gets louder, more desperate. The inspection team didn't just go missing, they were hunted, and whatever did this is still here. A heavy metallic clang echoes through the tunnel. The smugglers aren't walking anymore. They've already crossed to the other side. The door slams shut. The lock clicks into place. Unlucky bitch. The smuggler's voice is full of spit and malice. Stay there and be monster food. They never planned on helping her. She was just a shield, a distraction for whatever is hunting in the dark. Alexis stands alone, still holding the egg. The laughter fades away, leaving only silence. And then, a low growl vibrates through the floor. The monsters are coming, and she has nowhere to run.